We're thinking about, okay, I do eventually want to retire. And so, how do I do that and be able to monetize all these wonderful years of experience and expertise that I have in something and be able to let it support me through my retirement? Whether it's a will or whether it's by choice or by chance, that day will come. And you spent so many years, training and learning and experience. You just have so many years of experience. So as I mentioned, it's not only your business experience, it could be something. Sometimes people have taken their hobbies and monetized it to millions of dollars. Some people have taken, again, it's like it's a side thing that they've been doing that they want to do. So it doesn't have to be, stringent. It doesn't have to be heavy as far as what you'll be able to do. Anything that you're passionate about, and that's why I say first, what can you do, or what are you doing that doesn't feel like work? What are you doing that doesn't feel like work that you can do all day and night and not go tired of it? Then that's what you should be pursuing. But sometimes people have that and they say, well, I don't really know. I don't think I can earn a living with it. I don't think I really can monetize it. So that's what this program is jumped in for. This is perfect for if you feel that you have a passion, but you don't know how to monetize it. If you feel you want to retire or just get, just kind of segue out of your full-time job, maybe spend more time with your grandchildren, spend more time with your partner, spend more time traveling, be more fluent, have more flexibility and freedom, then these are the perfect opportunities for you. So I want to plant those seeds in your mind because of the fact that, what you want, what you wish for, what you can manifest. And we're hoping that you manifest all your wonderful dreams with our time today. And for those of you who are just joining us, then I'm going to share my screen. If those of you are just joining us, then I'm going to do a recap. But the thing is that then you'll also want to be able to, that you'll be wanting to, be able to make sure that I'm pausing. So those of you who are just joining us, it's important that you are able to, all right, let me stop sharing for a second, that you're going to be able to find what you really want to do and find how to do it. So, questions. What is it, the ladies that have been with all week? You've had some really pivotal moments, and we've shared some of them yesterday, thankfully. And then we also have had some of you share with us what your takeaway was, but your pivotal moment while I work through this beautiful process. There we go. So, who wants to share?
Mhm. So, who had a key element that made them more aware? I know one of them was giving permission. Who found
Yeah.
that giving themselves permission was more important than asking for permission? Who else? I know Amy had that breakthrough. Dawn did. Vicky did. Who else found something out in the last 4 or 5 days that has been an awareness moment for them that they're like, okay, we would love to hear it. Because when you share, two things are happening. One, a different part of your brain is being used, so you will remember it and be able to take effect upon it. So it's really good to share. And second, it supports other people's understanding because they then may go, oh, the way you shared it, yes, I do like that information. So feel free to unmute yourself and just say, hey, it's your name here, and share with us something that you powerfully got or gently got. That's a change.
And just one line, like, say, let's say, okay, I did this, or I took away this, or I thought it made me think about this, or, it reminded me of this. Just one line, so that we can really, the more that we know about you and what your goals and aspirations are, the more we can support you in that. So just one line. Susan, one line.
I'll go.
Regina, one line, one line.
Permission. Very powerful.
Perfect, perfect. Regina, one line. You were here this week. Nika, you were here this week. What one line? Yvonne, one line. What you took away? What's
This is this is Yvonne. Bravery. Bravery. I don't have to be afraid.
fantastic?
I don't have to be afraid of the outcome.
Fantastic. Okay. Tracia, Nika, Tanya, you can just shout out just for a moment. I'm ready when you are, but I just want a moment for you to share this because sometimes, just like Jamie said, when you release it, when you speak it out loud, you speak it into reality. So
Okay. Desiree Sharcia is at my house working. She's down in the basement. She said to tell you all courage. And I was way in the back room doing something, and you said one word, and I want to say Mine's more than one word. Trust the process. Have
Fantastic.
to trust the process.
Fantastic. Awesome. All right. Okay, anyone else wants to share? Okay, then I'll share my screen.
Mine is, oh,
Go on.
can
Yes.
you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Mine is, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it. And I'm so glad to know I could just do that.
Great. Fantastic. Okay, so the power of seven, what we've been sharing with you, I'm going to share what mine was. Like actually, mine was is the fact that one, showing up is so powerful because every time you show up with open mind, you're going to be able to get a gift and walk away with something. I also want to share community. I saw the love and the strength and the power of being in part of a community. Even just a little simple thing yesterday when one lady, won something and the other one gave her heads up on it. That's taking care of each other. Do you have that kind of support in your life? Someone that's watching your back and supporting you that way. And that's what our community does. Another thing is the information, the knowledge, that all those different things that are happening. This week I share with you all the things that can be done. And then our program allows you to actually do it. That actually now it can be done, being able to actually do it. And also to being able to I was really complimented by the ladies that had the graduates that actually shared their experiences so eloquently and so, just so generously. So that's what the Power of Seven is. The what we're going to do is that as we talked about YouTube, we talked about videos, we talked about digital magazines, ebooks, podcasts, to how to do live events, virtual events, how to be speaking opportunities, and so forth. So a little bit about me. Every day I've been giving you a little bit, drip by drip, from when I was 12 years old, teaching dance lessons to children that were younger than me, when I was in high school selling chocolate bars, from a fundraiser, from when I was in college at USC doing Marrying the Mermaid, and then when I finished college, being able to have the Empowered Woman program. And so now my background is in real estate since '89. I was licensed as a realtor, then a broker, then an investor. 3 years ago, I created Homework. And Homework is where you live, where you work where you live, anywhere in the world. Because in 2008, when that real estate market happened, and majority of my assets, my wealth was in real estate. I've made over $1 million a couple times in my life. First time with an empowered woman, and the second time with real estate. It was all gone. Everything was gone. Everything was upside down. Everything was upside down. It was just like for years of compromising, and I had over 10 properties and 2 apartment buildings, and it was just all upside down. So I had to make that decision. And some of you may be at that same segue in your life where, okay, now where do I go from here? What do I want to do? How do I want to do it? And what do I want my life to look like going forward? And so it gave me, it wasn't by plan. It wasn't it wasn't like say either by choice or by chance. It wasn't my choice, but I had a couple of years to actually think and regroup. And so I said, okay, what have I done most and what do I enjoy the most? So I had a Power Woman for 12 years then, and I loved dealing with the women. I loved motivating the women. I loved working with the women. And it was easy for me to share with them business information because I had been doing it all my life. It was natural for me. And not only the logistics of it, but the mindset of it. This is your mind that's going to make this work. And then I loved real estate. So I said, okay, so I wanted to, but I was wanting to place, I had moved to a condo, and I wanted a place where I could live where I work where I live, anywhere in the world. Because my children were gone, they were off to college. I was an empty nester. I didn't have any, I didn't have anything large commitments at that time. So that's what I wanted. So I said, well, let me create that because other women want the same thing. And I said, let's create a home, a beautiful luxury home. I still wanted the luxury of a home, but I didn't want all the maintenance and the management myself. So I said, we'll create homes that are luxurious where people can live full time, part time, or as a drop in. And I want the home to be designed so I can have meetings. So we have an office, we have a classroom where we can have meetings up to 12 people for a seminar or board meetings. I wanted to have a studio, so we have a green screen with different equipment in there so I could do podcasts and videos. I wanted it to be something that can give events. So we have a dining room that converts to a conference room, and living room converts to a event room, and just lots and lots of space with a beautiful view of mountains, oceans, and the city. I wanted that type of thing. So not only for myself, but other women that were single, empty nesters, traveling, they could have a home away from home and still be able to work from it. So that's what we were going for. And then I also wanted women that had guest houses and guest rooms, because all of us tried that Airbnb in different format when they came out, but some of us were very, very uncomfortable. Maybe they don't know who was coming through the door, or they had bad experiences, or maybe it was young kids or men. And so I know once I tried it and I just was really nervous, I said, I want women that have guest houses and guest rooms to be able to rent it out to other women professionals and entrepreneurs. So that way they can not only have a great clientele that's working with them, they're part of a community because they're all members, and they can actually have potential clients or potential lifelong friends, and then create a membership around it so we can do things together and travel together. So if you went to Europe, instead of going to an Airbnb, you can go into a beautiful home and be surrounded by like-minded women. So that's how I combined, that's how we got from these different things, how I combined what I wanted to do and to live my dream. And 3 years, we're still in the making, we're still growing. And next year, we'll be doing a 12 city store tour, and we'll open up 12 different locations in 12 different cities, one each month. So it's important again now for you to say, what am I going to do? What's my plans for next year? And then after I'm building the company to sell, and then I have my plans for after I sell the company within 3 to 5 years, I have my next generation to do from there. Then I'm ready to retire. So what do you have now? Or what are you taking from your experiences, from your knowledge, from your past that you're preparing to monetize, and preparing for next year, no matter what happens, and then being able to take you on your path to being able to retire? So that's a thought that I would like for you to put in the chat. Where do you want to be 3 to 5 years from now? Are you going to be retired? If you're going to be, I'll be doing something, but I just won't be doing this. I'll be doing things differently. So what we covered this week was a lot. We covered how to become a published author. Someone lady shared with us how she wrote 2 articles, her first 2 articles in our session, and it got her 3 articles on Condé Nast, as well as an offer to be in a reality show. She's a travel agent. So how powerful are those articles? Podcasts. We talked about how to create podcasts and the ease of creating podcasts and the content that's needed to be able to do it consistently, and what style you can do. Same thing with videos. We had talked about videos, how the videos give you optimization, that worldwide. Google owns YouTube, so you play nice on YouTube, and you've got a lot of optimization through Google. But again, you have to know the format. How many people are doing this? Is it you? Is it talk show? Is it questions? We showed you different styles, different formats that we've done. We really talked about joint ventures. That is the key to being able to expand and to grow. Some of you are starting your business. Some of you are very established in your business. But even we used the example, but Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, has expanded his joint ventures. You see him now always with different people and in promotions. He's aligned himself with to grow. And he has a list. I mean, we know that he has a list and he has visibility and credibility, but he still finds the value in joint ventures. Sponsors, how to get sponsors, how to package yourself and what to package to be able to get sponsors to fund your dreams. I mean, you don't need to do that alone. So what kind of packages are you putting together? What are you offering them? I gave you an example of a sponsor package page that we had for the Enterprising Women event, how we combined not only our assets, but even another organization's asset to give them even more value. So how to do that, again, that one segment itself could fund, everything that you're doing. Affiliates, I mean, my take on affiliates is that it's like one of the easiest passive ways to generate revenue. Now we've had people that have generated thousands of dollars. I mean, we've shown you different examples of how easy it is to be able to promote something that you're passionate about, that you're comfortable with, and be able to be compensated for it. So some of you are in a transition stage and you really don't know what you want to do, then that's a perfect segue, because once you start promoting other people's products, many people do that and they want to make more money than trying to do something on their own. So that's perfect for you if you're not really sure what. Maybe you have a passion about fashion, or a passion about makeup, or a passion about travel. Then you're able to create an affiliate channel. We told you how we created websites and channels for that. Events, how to monetize events. We talked about all the different ways of monetizing not only the live events, but virtual events and the hybrid events. We talked about webinars, we talked about summits, we talked about seminars, we talked about special events. Dr. Jackson talked about launches that she's given that in the matter of weeks by taking the program, she's able to make $30,000 at her first launch, and be on an event every month where she's made a minimum of $15,000 a month for 3 hours. How many of you would like to be able to create something that cost you $500, because we had the hotel and everything else sponsored, and cost you maybe $500 where your makeup artist came to her room in the morning, covered accommodations, and then be able to make at least $15,000. I mean, who would appreciate that once a month? So being able to create that products, programs, and services that included masterminds. You talk about masterminds, how you can make thousands of dollars with that. Master membership programs, reoccurring revenue. You know, a lot of you have access to a community. You know, community, you have access to people who have the same interests. We even heard how a nurse, had created a mastermind, and so she has a very high-end mastermind. She didn't say the price, so I won't share it, but it's a really high-end mastermind, and they meet for the purpose of they want to be around like-minded. So what masterminds do you have? What membership programs do you have? What recurring revenue do you have? And then being able to take that information and to share it with your social media to be able to get more connectivity, to more community, but you have to do it consistently. And speaking of consistency, we have our weekly masterminds, and that is the jewel. That's the jewel for me. That I get excited every Tuesday about what I'm going to share with them, what I'm going to teach them. So I tell them, I tease them, I say, I sometimes will listen to videos and see things and say, okay, now I want to share this with my ladies. This is just a new nugget because you're busy in your space, and I want you to stay in your lane. So I'll do the research, I'll do the heavy lifting, which I find joyous, and I'll share it with you. But it's also a chance for us to connect, whether we're in a good mood or bad mood, just connect on a consistent basis to be able to stay strong and stay consistent and stay powerful. And then not only we give you a platform called the Coffee and Conversation that we do every week. We used to do it in person, where you could come and do an event. Now through COVID, we've been doing it virtually. And the advantage of that is now we've been able to reach people way, beyond our geographic area. So that was really powerful. So now all of a sudden you can present your program to people that are all out there. So that is the power of 7. That's what we've been talking about all week. And then people again have been sharing this for their takes from it, and it's for credibility, more visibility, and more revenue. I know that some of you are not are financially situated, so it's not about the money, but maybe it's about being able to bring your brand, get more awareness for your brand. Or some it may be building your email list. For some it may be just nurturing prospects along their journey. Maybe you already have prospects but just want to keep them engaged. Engagement is huge, especially for your CRM systems and for your email list. So just being able to stay connected with them with your videos and your podcasts and your articles, or convert your audience to paying customers. Many of you are part of different groups and organizations, or you have a whole list of people, or you have a whole pile of business cards, that like, how do you convert them to paying customers? And then those who have customers, to retain them or increase their purchases, which means an upsell or cross sell. So maybe they've purchased one thing. How do you get them to engage, take them to the next level, to the next level, to the next level? And then convert those happy customers to evangelists, people that are going to go out there and that would come and share their experiences with you, and to be able to attest to what you're doing. That's huge, and that's been a really, really, really big gift for me, because I reached out to these ladies and I didn't have any idea what they were going to say, and they were all, it just warms my heart to know they got that was their takeaway from the Power of 7. So with that information, what we want to think about is that not everybody wants millions of dollars. Understood. Not everybody needs millions of dollars. Now, some people that may just want another $5,000 a month. They just want another $10,000 a month. So this is, we feel it's easy. If you see what the top is doing, it's easy to be able to say, well, I don't need that, but if I can do this, then I can get that. So if it's possible there, then it's possible to get a $10,000 a month, or $5,000 a month, or $50,000 a month, whatever your joy is. And that's one of my, my biggest thoughts, is that, someone made a mention yesterday, or I don't know whether it's on here, but about the mountain, that they're not big enough. They're not, successful enough. And my attitude is like, you're on your own mountain. Your mountain, wherever your mountain is, there's always going to be mountains that are bigger than yours. And there are always going to be mountains that are smaller than yours. But it's a mountain, and that's your mountain. So claim your mountain, claim where you want to be. I'm not here to say what you should and need and do, whatever. I'm here to say that you can. Whatever you want to do, whatever mountain you want to stand on top of, you can do it. So if you're not standing on top of your mountain, then you're cutting yourself short. If you're not standing on top of your mountain, then you are, I say that's the way of being able to thank the universe for giving you the opportunities. So just pick your mountain, whatever it is, and then stand on top of it. And that's it. You know, it has nothing to do with anybody else. Just do what works for you. So let's go through some numbers and let's see what possible. And then you scale it to what makes sense for you. We talk about the $100,000. Right, we talk about the fact that, if you want to make an additional $100,000, and I use that number because, we're in California, most of us, or wherever we are, that's kind of what you need to be able to if sustain within, with our economy the way that it is. But, again, take your numbers and work it whatever way you want. So if your number is $60,000 and do the math. But at the $100,000, and again, even if it's not for you, what about what you can give? What about who else you can support? What organizations you can afford you to be able to support, either with time or money? So if it's $100,000 breaks down to 8,333 a month, and then the week is 1923 a week, and a day is 274 a day, and an hour is $34 an hour. So when people look at that, it's like, wow, that's really not a lot of money. I mean, most of you charge more than $34 an hour. Now, maybe it's not 8 hours a day, but the thing is that you don't need, it's not as astronomical, let's put it that way, as some people think, oh my goodness, I've got to really be, going crazy. It's not. So you look at the numbers, that just gives you a reality check. So I like to approach it about as opposed to the hour and as opposed to the day, I like to approach it either by the month or the week. What can I do this month? What activity can I do this month to be able to generate that kind of money? What can I do, or this week? What can I do every week? Because then that way it gives you the flexibility of how many hours a day, how many days a week. You could work 5 days, 7 days, you could work 8 hours, 10 hours. So kind of, wrap it around what works for you in your mind. But that's how I approach that. So, that's when you ask the question, how many days do I want to work a week? How many hours do I want to work a day? I like the 3 days. I like the Tuesdays and Wednesdays. People know that it's my on-camera days, and then another day would be a day that I actually do admin and so forth. So think about, I mean, you deserve and you can take the time and the energy to decide what you want to do and how you want to do it. So take a moment in doing that. So put in the chat, like who wants to work by the day or the week, or who wants to make 8,333 a month, or who wants to make more, who wants to make less, who wants $100,000, who wants $50,000, who wants $500,000. Just kind of put a chat. You've got to bring it out to the universe. They say when you speak it, when you write it, it becomes closer to a reality. So holding it in, bring it out and share with us. So that way we know also, I know how I can speak and pour into what your needs and your wants are. So let's throw some things in the chat. So let's look at what it would take then. Okay, because we talked about events and so forth. So if you did 2 events a month that made $4,000, and I know this is, 8,000, it's not 833, so I just rounded the numbers off. 2 events, if you did 2 events a month, whether it's a live event or a virtual event, you can do, you make only $4,000 at those events, then you reach your goal. And so you find out in the Power 7 is that, okay, we break it down into what kind of event would do that for you. So the Power of 7 will say, okay, are you good doing something that's virtual? Are you want to do something that's, a group? Do you want to do something that's private? Whatever it is. So think about what kind of event we teach you, and we go through and show you what kind of events you could create utilizing the tools that you want to enroll and with your audience, your target market. Say you just want to get sponsors. Say you decide I'm going to do podcasts and I'm going to do videos, and I'm just going to get sponsors. So I can do 4 sponsors at $2,000 equals $8,000. So 4 sponsors at $2,000. Okay, $2,000 for a sponsor. Well, that's $500 a week for a business. There's not many businesses that cannot invest $500 a week to get more visibility. And who are those sponsors would be? They would be people that, again, your accountant or your attorney or your hairstylist or your someone that you have the food service that maybe you have delivered, Blue Apron. It could be your banks. We've had banks sponsor us. We've had, different. I mean, you'd be surprised of the people that would be available to sponsor your program, but you just have to be able to say and commit to the fact, this is what I have. I have a podcast that I do, or I have a video series, or I have an event that I do. I'm looking for sponsors for. You have to be able to, show them that you're able and you're doing that. But otherwise it's not easy and not difficult, rather. I've had gyms, I've had yoga studios, I've had nail salon. It was really local. I mean, it's not difficult for someone to make $500, and you have to be able, what do you say to them? We show you in the Power 7 how to package it, how to help have them do their numbers. what's their perfect client and how much that perfect client is to them. And then they can say, okay, well, all I need is to convert 10 people and I've got my ROI. So there's a conversation that makes that very, very easy. And we teach you how to have that conversation with sponsors so that it's a very easy conversation. Okay, coaching. So if you had 8 people paying you $1,000 a month, whether you did it weekly, whether you did it once a month, whether you did it once a week, whether you did it, whatever it is, we work with you and we show you what's appropriate and what's easy for you. That's $8,000 right there. So that could be 8 hours, on the phone in a month, coaching somebody, individually coaching or doing some type of a seminar. If you had a virtual, seminar that you did that you just do for a group of people, we help you break down. If you had so many people, what do I do? Or you can be able to create seminars for other organizations. I've gone into different people's organizations and say, let's create a seminar, and you can charge your community, you can charge even your employees. When I was at employees, they took the seminar for them to be able to accelerate their growth. Or you can have 16 people paying you $500. Now, how many people know 16 people that have access to 16 people in the world? Yes, no, yes, 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 yes. People have 16 people. Okay, you have 16 people. Okay, on your list. Okay, you need more than that, but you can 16 people that would pay you $500. Again, that could be for a virtual class. It could be something very elementary. When I showed you shared the story about my dance lessons, I took lessons in the morning. I taught the same lessons in the afternoon to younger children. So you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be certified. You don't have to be an expert. Or if you want to be an expert, you can spend, they say, 7 hours on YouTube and become an expert at something, or take a couple classes, become an expert. But there's something that you have that you know already tomorrow to people that either are your level or that is a level maybe that's not as advanced as you are in that industry, to be able to teach them and charge them $500 and create a virtual class. So at the Power of Seven, we share with you, okay, what kind of class are you going to do it? It's going to be once a week. It's going to be twice a week. It's going to be once a month, twice a month. What are you going to come? We break it down to like, what are you going to do in the class? What are you going to share in the class? We can even work further. When you're working with me, I think Anna shared yesterday, when she worked with me, I did the whole program for her, every module for her. So she knew module 1, module through module 10, exactly what she was going to teach. And that way you just have that class already done and you just be able to share that class. And you can get 16 people. These are low numbers, as you know. If you really do your social media, you have a community, you'll be able to do it. This is a minimum. This is all that you need to be able to accomplish that goal. And then 40 people at $200. So it could be a product, a program, or one your service. So $200 a month could be a membership. $200 a month can be a mastermind. $200 a month could be journals or books or a combination of that you sell. $200 a month, someone will pay if you get 40 people to buy a package that you have, but you've done on a video, on a Zoom video, and you have the audio and you have it transcribed to a written word. That is a program that you can get somebody started or get someone moving forward in whatever your topic is. So all you need is 10 a week. That's 2 a day if you did it for 5 days. So it's not like you need hundreds and thousands of people to buy that program for you. And at the Power of Seven, we will be teaching you, okay, what you would put into a program. And we even use the ladies in our masterminds, like, what do you think about this pricing? Is it too high? Is it too low? Would you pay that for that? So it's just being able to get that actual feedback. And it's just getting it done. I think, again, what they said yesterday is that, we all have great these ideas. So the difference between having these ideas and having these ideas done is 2 different things. And our bank accounts reflect it. And so again, we can have these wonderful ideas, but getting it done. And just like, for food for thought, it's just being able to say that, 1,000 units of $1,000 products equals $1 million. So if you had $1,000 program, product, service, and you had 1,000 units of it sold, then there's your big number. So when these ladies today and the gentlemen today talk about millions of dollars, it's not that they had millions and millions and millions of people necessarily. All they had a product or service or program or sponsors or affiliates that gave them $1,000 and they had 1,000 units of it. So over a period of time, like, how could you accumulate 1,000 of anything, whether it's products or people or clients or customers, whatever you want to do it. So that is what's possible. And it's not, again, it's just not so, sometimes people feel it's just not so far fetched. It's not such a stretch as you think it may be. It's just being able to stop thinking about it and do it. That's the magic word, is doing it done. So, I want you to think about, again, if you were only take away one thing from the things that I shared with you, from the different things that we shared with you, what would that be? So I talked about videos, I talked about podcasts, I talked about articles, I talked about, events, I talked about masterminds and memberships, I talked about social media. What would the one thing be? Share with us in the chat. What would the one thing be that you would take away? And I'm going to stop sharing. So let's see what's in the chat. Let's see that one thing that you'd be able to do. That, wow, lots of responses. Fantastic. Let's see what's there. Okay, so I know about hip hop. Okay, about hip hop for me. I like hip hop. I want to learn some hip hop. So hip hop. Okay, magazine and articles. Okay, Dawn, magazine and articles. How to monetize that. Laura, being consistent. That's the key. Consistency is the key. Okay, who else? And who wants to speak to it? Who wants to share? Okay, there we go. I need to get my webinars going with a good conversion. That's a secret to that. I'm going to ask you something. Yes. So then what about, okay, from that, you need a webinar. So produce and be a producer. The service. Okay, Rosalind has been talking about podcasts for a while. Okay, it's to get it done. Is it done? You can get it done by the fact. Okay, I answered some questions. I was wondering if you was here. Okay, you can get it done by actually doing it. So I was just checking to make sure that you use this food for your thought. This is what you need to know. This is what you need to be able to sink into. Yes. Some people have spotted different things. So, okay. So I think that's my cue. I've been in cues that, oh my goodness. All right, we're excited. So let's take our, Jamie, you think we should take our break, take our few minutes, breakout rooms, or do you want to, Jamie, want to keep going?
Yeah, I'm here.
You want to do a breakout room, or do you want to do a bio break? Bio break. Because that's
Let's do a quick bio break, so then we can come back for the phenomenal guest speaker.
Yay!
Because I know everyone will be running back.
All right. So
on the way, folks. Quickly get up. Let's throw a little bit of music on, Dawn, if we can, and get up, stretch the body.
He's doing a great job this week, DJ Dawn.
Take some deep.
So take a deep breath, get your paper and pencils, come present, come on camera. I mean, that's just like if you were to come into the room, you don't want to be sitting in the dark. Come on camera, as you are. We love you as you are. Just come on camera and let's give our 100% presence to our guests who are taking their time out of their day to share with us. And let's just move around and dance. Let's show them what kind of energy is in the room. And this is our opportunity to say, we are here. Nice song. We're back. We're back. We're back. Everyone's back. Who's back? Who's back? I want to see your faces. I want to see your back, your hands. You're back. You're back. Are you present? Are you in the room? Yes, yes. I see Lenska. I see Dawn. I see Susan. Come on, Susan. I see Laura. She's back. I see Claudia. Are you back? And Tanya and Deborah and Nika. Are you here? Patty, are you here? Yes. Come back. Come back. Come back. Let's see your beautiful faces. Demita, are you here? Roslyn, Tracia, ladies, come back. We are back. Awesome. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Are we ready? Are we ready for our special guest today? Yes, I see it all in the chat. I see it on the chat. I want to see your hands. I want to see your arms. I want to see you. Okay, fantastic. All right, I'm going to have the pleasure of introducing to you to our special guest, and it is John Lee Dumas. Now, you ladies have heard me every time I talk about what we're doing, kind of the content marketing, including this morning. I share with you all the different components of being able to build your content, build your market, and to be able to monetize it. And I always use the example, all these years, I always use the example, this perfect example of someone who does it well, and that's John Lee Dumas. And so when we're ready, I am also would love to bring the cameras on and hear them and meet him, and then is that him and his beautiful wife, Kate? Good morning, John. Good morning. How are you?
Coming at you guys live from Puerto Rico. Excited to be here. So wherever you are in the world, hope you are ready for some fun over the next 30 minutes because I definitely am. And thanks for having me, Desiree.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I've shared with them that I had the pleasure of being on your podcast. You had the pleasure of being on our podcast as a powered woman, and that you are just like you. I use you as an example all the time. And in classes, I teach, content, getting your videos, getting your podcasts, getting your affiliates, getting your sponsors, getting products. And you are the perfect example of that success. So I would love for you to share with them, your journey. And because I think they happened overnight, but you've been building this and you just built like an amazing, amazing thing. But you're able to build a lifestyle. You built a lifestyle, and that freedom and flexibility that everybody wants. So take it away.
Sure. Well, first off, like I said, welcome to my virtual Puerto Rico. This actually behind me is where I live. This is a green screen, but this is actually a picture of my backyard. Kate and I were lucky enough to move here from lovely San Diego 4 years ago. I'm actually coming up on 4.5 years ago now, and it's been quite an amazing transition. Like Desiree mentioned, really being able to live that life of location freedom, having financial freedom, and then combining those into just an overall lifestyle freedom that we've really been able to enjoy on a lot of levels. And to go back very briefly over my story so that we can then get into some real specific questions or tactics or strategies or whatever you really want to focus on today to improve any part of your content marketing game that you have going on. It doesn't even have to be podcast specific. I actually was born and raised in a very small town in Maine. So I spent the first 18 years of my life in this very small town, and then kind of like discovered the world for the first time when I went to college on an Army scholarship in Providence, Rhode Island, specifically Providence College. And then post-college, I did 8 years as an officer in the US Army, and I saw a lot of the world during that time. And I was actually deployed to Iraq for 13 months as an armor platoon leader, which essentially means I was in charge of 4 tanks and 16 men during that 13-month deployment. After the Army, I spent what I call kind of 6 years of struggle where I was trying to find myself, find my career path. I had a lot of strikeouts. I had a lot of failures. I struggled a lot over those 6 years, just trying to find what that thing might be. And then in 2012, I just had this idea, and the idea came to me because I was consuming a lot of content. Like I was reading a lot of business books. I was listening to a lot of audiobooks. I became obsessed with the medium of podcasting because I just really believed in it. I just loved how it was free, it was on demand, and it was very targeted content. So I just loved the medium. Just like you see people just love TikTok for some reason, or just love the pictures on Instagram, or just crush it with Pinterest, like whatever that might be. Like that was me with podcasting. I just got it. I loved it. I felt connected to the hosts. I felt like I learned so much from the interviews. And I remember on a walk, listening to this interview, learning so much from this successful entrepreneur that I said, wow, I need to listen to at least one of these every single day. So I ran home to find the podcast that was delivering a daily interview with a successful entrepreneur. It didn't exist, and it blew me away. And I said to myself, well, why not kind of follow Gandhi's advice here and be that change you want to see in the world? Like, I wanted to see a daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. It didn't exist. I believed there was a void to be filled. So a couple months later, after hiring a mentor, Jamie Masters, and she had a great podcast called The Eventual Millionaire. She was a fantastic mentor for me. And then joining a mastermind, specifically Cliff Ravenscraft's podcast Masterminds, I learned enough to launch my own podcast back in 2012. And the reason why I was able to win at such a big level is because I was filling a need that nobody else was filling. I was the best daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs the day that I launched. I was the worst daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs the day that I launched. I was literally the only daily podcast interviewing entrepreneur. So I was the only show in town. Just back in the day when you had, one barber or one pastry shop in your town, they win because that's the only game in town. And that was me for years with Entrepreneurs on Fire. So for 2,000 days in a row, that's 5.5 years, I stayed true and consistent to that philosophy. And I released an episode every one of those days. And it was an amazing experience. At episode 2000, that was about 2.5 years ago now, I had a really fun announcement where I said, I'm semi-retiring from the game. I'm going from 7 a week down to 3 per week. So now I've been doing 3 per week for the past couple of years, and I'm now well over 2,700 episodes total. And one thing that I'm really proud of is not only have I just been releasing content, I've been releasing content with a purpose, with a strategy, and running a successful business behind that. And what does a successful business need? It needs revenue. It needs to generate money so that me, myself, Kate, my business, and everybody that does something similar can keep creating what you're creating, can keep spending time sharing your voice, your message, your mission with the world. And back when we first had back when we first had our first six-figure month, which was in 2013, Kate and I decided that we're going to start launching what we call monthly income reports, where we share everything, all the mistakes that we make so other people can avoid those mistakes, all the successes that we have month over month so people can emulate those successes. We bring our CPA on to give a tax tip, our lawyer on to share a legal tip. And we just actually recently published our 85th income reports in a row. And every single one of those income reports has had a net profit. And this is something that I think a lot of people need to realize. You see on Instagram these 6-figure, 7-figure launches, whatever they may be, like those launches, those courses, whatever they may be losing money because they're just sharing their gross numbers. Running a successful business, in my opinion, means your net profits is where you want and need it to be. Not that big, gross number, but what is that net profit? And that's where I'm really proud that we've been able to run a very lean team. It's myself and Kate and 3 virtual assistants. And we typically are running a 70 to 80% net profit off of our gross revenue. And 85 months in a row, we've been over $100,000 in net profits for just under now $20 million in total revenue since 2012. So, we're not some unicorn. We're not, making 8-9 figures of revenue. We're not something crazy, but we're a very lean, financially thriving business that I truly believe anybody can build on whatever that level is for them. And I'm a big believer, by the way, that if you're living in South Dakota and you're netting $57,000 a year and you have your monthly expenses under control, that's a massive win. That's a massive success. That allows you lifestyle freedom because you're doing what needs to be done with your business to make the money that you need to make to live the life you want to live, to be sharing your voice, your message, your mission in the ways that you want to. And so I love talking about podcasting. I love talking about online business, but I am at the end of the day like a numbers guy. And the reason why our business has been thriving for 8 years is because we do focus on that part of our business as well as other parts of our business, which are very, very important. So that's kind of the quick background behind me, Desiree. I'd love to go in any direction that you'd like to go forward in.
A couple of things that you mentioned that I've been sharing, and I really believe a believer on, is one, having a mentor. That sometimes, and you'll hear that all the time, is that having a mentor, having someone else who's been there and done that, is really, really valuable. How has that impacted your success or contributed?
Having a mentor has been everything, and I'm a big believer. And when it comes to mentors, you need to find somebody who is currently where you want to be. So many people, they get a mentor, but they get the wrong mentor in the sense that this person possibly has not tread down the road that you're about to take. So for me, back in 2012, I found a successful business podcast host, Jamie Masters, because she was a successful business podcast host and I wanted to be a successful business podcast host. So the guidance that she gave me, like the potholes I was able to avoid, the connections she was able to build with me, that was everything. So that mentorship was key because I found the right mentor. If I found a really successful businessman or businesswoman that had never done a podcast before, which by the way, I've seen a lot of podcasters do, they can't help you on specifically the things you need help on. So what is it that you want to be in this world? Find that person who's currently doing that thing, has accomplished those things that you want to accomplish. That's where your mentor is.
Fantastic. Another thing you mentioned that I'm a strong advocate is for masterminds. We have a mastermind. I'm encouraging people to participate in our mastermind. You've been a part of many masterminds. How has that impacted or influenced your success?
So the thing about masterminds is it's accountability, and accountability is everything. Like, listen, when we're just at home in our office, doing our thing, like there's so many distractions that will, derail us in so many ways, shapes, and forms, because it's so easy to go down rabbit holes on YouTube, to watch that latest Netflix series, to do X, Y, or Z. But when you have the right mastermind, and that's people that are there holding you accountable, supporting you, guiding you on a weekly basis, I really believe that is a minimum that you should be meeting with your masterminds. You will be stating goals that you're going to accomplish each week. And because that mastermind's there, they'll be holding you accountable to accomplishing those goals. Likewise, you for them, and making sure that all as a mastermind are rising, as all ships can rise in a high tide. So that's super critical. I do want to jump over to something that Laura just asked. She said, what's the actual business that you run? So my business is called Entrepreneurs on Fire. It's a podcast where I interview successful entrepreneurs. That business over the years has grown to encompass a lot of things. So we run Podcasters Paradise, which is the biggest paid podcasting community in the world, where we teach people how to create, grow, and monetize their podcast. We have over 6,000 members in that community. We also have 3 journals. These are physical journals that I've created over the years that help guide people accomplish goals, master productivity. And then the third one is actually a podcast journal that guides you to creating and launching your podcast in 50 days. We do a lot of things in the affiliate realm. So we support a lot of companies and businesses and products and services that we believe in. And we promote those to our audience. And we recommend them, of course, after knowing, liking, and trusting them ourselves first. So that's pretty much the business that we run. It's all hinged on kind of what I call the main traffic generator, which is Entrepreneurs on Fire, the podcast, which is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast that we've been running since 2012.
Fantastic. You also perfect example of, again, you talked about the podcast, you talked about the affiliates, how big the affiliate marketing can be and contribute to your bottom line, and it's all sponsors, and also talked about having products, programs, and services. You have products like your journals. You also have programs like your training programs, and then you have masterminds. So you kind of speak to all those different elements, and then what you find is the value of each one of them. And then I love the fact you talked about your numbers. So we talked about numbers this morning, that whatever your numbers are, being able to accomplish those numbers. So all the different elements you have, kind of think about why you brought them on, what value it has brought, and maybe some of the things that are more, it's bringing more value, not only in monetary value, but also in connecting and keeping connected with your community and growing your community.
Back to the numbers thing, it's so critical. And again, it's not always the most fun thing to talk about. It's not always like, the quote unquote, like politically correct thing to talk about. Like, it's just the culture that we've grown, it seems, where, like it's rude to ask somebody how much they make. Like it's rude to ask somebody how much they paid for a house, even though, like the listing price, was right on the MLS. Like, and to me, it's just like we've kind of created this culture now where like we're hiding the very things that we should be talking about so openly, because it helps everybody. It helps me know how much your house costs when I'm going house shopping. It helps me know like how much your business is making, so I can say like, what am I doing wrong or what am I doing right? Now we have kids graduate high school not even knowing how to balance a checkbook or what a checkbook is, or not even understanding what debt is. And it's just like this terrible, terrible cycle that we're just finding ourselves in, of just this consumerism and people just getting just overweighted with debts, when the 17-year-old having no idea what money is signing their life away for a couple $100,000 to go to college, and then they're coming out thinking like, oh, I'm going to make $75,000 a year, I can pay that off in a couple of years. And it's like, no, you're going to be like making $2,000 a month after taxes and your rent. Like, you're not going to have any money to pay down this debt. Forget about it. Like, but nobody gets that. And that's a little bit of a side rant that I'm going on right now, but it kind of goes back to why we talk so openly about our income, what's working for us, what doesn't work for us. 2 months ago, we had a really disastrous financial experience happen, and we talked super openly about that, and people were so thankful, because now they're going to be able to avoid making the same mistakes that we made, because of course we're making mistakes all the time, because we're pushing the envelope, we're trying new things. And so we're going to make mistakes, and I'm happy when we make mistakes, because that means we are trying new things and pushing that envelope. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't want to make a mistake and then just like try to bury and hide it. Like, I want to shout it from the rooftops so that my audience, my followers, don't make that same mistake, or at least can learn from it, make minor or major adjustments, and then make it actually be a win for them. And so that's like an example of why we're so open about numbers, why we love sharing exactly what's working for us, what's not working for us, and why, I think the culture of money in the United States, and really just in the world, is completely upside down. And it's really a sad thing, because, what is money at the end of the day? And then I'll kind of get off this little rant of the soapbox. It's just a conduit, for us to use to get the things that we need and that we want. Like, it's nothing more or less. So like, why is it such a secret? Like, why are we like not being more open and upfront about it? So if you get into a mastermind, like myself and Desiree recommend, you should be an advocate to having everybody be open and honest about what they're making. Because again, you're seeing somebody like, oh, I just had a 6-figure launch, selling this product on Amazon. I sell products on Amazon. After storage fees, after advertising, after your product cost, after this and that, you might be putting like $17 in your pocket. And now you're telling somebody that like you had a 6-figure launch where, yeah, you made $117,000, your expenses were $115,000. So you really had a $2,000 launch, but like, you're not gonna post that on Instagram to the level that you're posting a 6-figure launch and misleading people to go down that road.
I love your transparency, and I think it's really, really, that's a really great society and a great spirit to be able to work from, because it is, so many people are following these different things and they don't, if they don't reach that, or if they don't accomplish that, then they feel like a failure. And I feel that they're not, the fact that you're trying is a success in itself, and it's up to you to be able to pull it through. So thank you for that, and reminding everybody that it's not, that all that you see is not really what it is.
And Vicki, I received your clap, so thank you for that. I saw that.
So, okay, so you started with the podcast, and then you added, what did you add next? Did you add the sponsors, affiliates, the products, or the programs? What did you add next? How did you?
Great question. So the process for me was this. I'm like, I'm just going to create free, valuable, and consistent content for my audience every single day. I'm going to fill that void that I talked about of there's no daily podcast. Now there is. It's mine. I'm not a good podcaster at that time by any stretch. I was bad. I was nervous. I was inexperienced. I was a bad host. I was a bad interviewer, but I was putting in the reps. I was doing it every single day. I was doing it 7 days a week. So I was getting a little bit better all the time. opposed to me doing like a weekly podcast, doing 4 per month. Like, you don't get better doing something 4 times per month. You do get better doing something every single day, whatever that thing might be. And over 6 and 8 months of launching over 200 episodes over that time frame, I was building an audience by delivering that free, valuable, and consistent content. And then I went to that audience that I built up to that point, and I said, audience, I call them Fire Nation. I said, Fire Nation, what is your biggest struggle right now? And then I listened, and I got all the answers back. Like, I had a whole document of responses. Some were way out in left field, some were way out in right field. But I was able to put together some themes that people, like, let's just call it center field, where a lot of people were saying about the same thing. And one of those things was, John, you're talking with all these successful entrepreneurs every single day. I feel like I live in this small town in the middle of nowhere where I don't connect with anybody that's an entrepreneur. Everybody's like working for this factory or working at this corporate office or whatever. They don't get this entrepreneurial journey that I'm on. Like, how do I find people to connect with? Because you always say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, which is so true. And I said, oh man, what my audience needs based on all these responses I received is a well-run mastermind. So the first thing I launched, and this was about 8 months in, was a mastermind called Fire Nation Elite, where I just said, hey, if you're listening to this podcast and you are interested in getting together on a daily basis on something like a Facebook group, in a weekly basis on a video call, where I will, answer your questions about business and entrepreneurship to the best of my ability. I'll bring on guest speakers. We'll have great communications. The other people in this mastermind are going to be giving their thoughts and their experience. Like, let's launch a mastermind. It's going to be called Fire Nation Elite. I'm going to have applications for this. The first 50 people that sign up for this through this form, I'm literally going to call you. We're going to have a 15-minute call to see if you're the right fit. Then if you're the right fit, then I will extend an offer to be part of Fire Nation Elite, and we're going to cap it the first round at 50 people. And we did that. I had a few hundred applications, whittled it down to 50. It was $150 per month for people in that first 50. They were kind of like our initial round. So Kate and I could really feel comfortable with running a mastermind, answering people, making sure that we can handle all the questions that were going to come in, and really just kind of gauge what it would be like to run a community that big and run a mastermind that big. And then after about 2 months of that, we're like, okay, we're really feeling good about handling this size of a community. Let's double it. So I went back to the applications and I said, hey, the next 50, if you want to reapply, let's jump on another call. Let's talk about it. Boom, we did that. Brought up to 100, and then we capped it there because we found even months in advance that that was the max that we could really handle as far as the size of community, giving them the level of intimacy and connection that we wanted to give them. And that second round of people, 51 to 100, we upped the price to $250 per month. So they were like round 2, and we'd already proven the concept. So that was how we structured that monetarily. And so at that point, we were like at month 10 or 11 at that point, we had already established a 5-figure a month business. That was generating anywhere from like $12,000 to $15,000 per month just on the mastermind alone. And that was the first consistent way that we monetized. I was doing one-on-one coaching here and there with people that wanted to learn how I launched up my podcast and how I could help them, guide them to launch their podcast. Because back in 2012, it was still a pretty big question mark about how you can navigate that. Like, you couldn't just go to YouTube like you can now and find a lot of really helpful tutorials. They just didn't really exist. So it was really one-on-one coaching, then the masterminds, which was the real, again, consistent revenue that we brought in. And then from there, we ended up launching about 5 months later, our first Podcasters Paradise Wave. And that's something that now we've been running Podcasters Paradise for 7 years now. And that's, again, teaching people how to create, grow, and monetize their own podcast within our community, Podcasters Paradise. And by the way, tried a bunch of other things during that time frame and after that time frame that didn't work. But, again, we've kind of like kept the winners, as you should, discarded the losers, which were plenty. And now we just really have, like our revenue streams pretty clearly defined and, running our business in that manner.
So you've added, and I know our timing is coming close, but you've added affiliates and you've added sponsorships and you added your products as well.
Yes. And that's kind of one thing I want to touch upon really quickly is affiliates is I think a lot of people get overwhelmed because they start by saying, okay, here's a problem I want to solve, but now I'm a little overwhelmed because I know how to create content around solving this problem and structure my, ideas around solving this problem. But like, what I do have to create this course now, like John's talking about, or do I have to write a book? And like all these things seem overwhelming. And my advice is always like, those things can and will come when the time is right. But for now, like just focus on establishing yourself as somebody who is creating free, valuable, and consistent content around a solution to a real problem. And then go out and find companies and go out there and find companies who have products and services that provide the higher level solution to that. Like a random example would be like, if you're just going to be like a sleep expert, like, hey, this is how you get back into your circadian rhythm. Like, this is how you get 8+ hours of quality sleep at night. Hey, maybe instead of like trying to recreate the world with some kind of offer, you just go to like a Casper mattress or Purple or one of those companies and you say, hey, I want to become an affiliate because I think you have the best mattress for sleep. I want to promote your service, your product, your mattress to my audience and get $300 for every, they have like, and it's always good when you can find like these high ticket offers. Like again, a mattress is a good example because it might be like $1,200, $1,500 for that, but there's a lot of profit margin in mattresses. So they can really be good when it comes to affiliates. But that's just like a random example. Like I just today had a water filtration system delivered to my house that takes the moisture, the humidity from the air and turns it into 8 gallons of water a day. Like, I love that. And how did I hear about that? From a water expert that I follow who talks about, how you can really up your water game. So just like a couple of examples of like how affiliates can be an initial, I don't want to call it easy, but just like an initial great way to monetize the content that you're creating without having to create this amazing solution right now. And again, maybe down the road, you're like, I'm going to create the best mattress in the world. I want to create a physical product, and you can do that later. And when you decide to, you just switch from promoting their offer. Now it's just the hose is just pointing at your offer, and that's how your funnel can work.
Fantastic. And then speaking about sponsors and sponsorships, how difficult or easy was that for you?
So sponsorships are a very large part of our revenue. We're typically making anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000 every single month just from podcast sponsorships alone. Now, we get over 1.1 million listens every month on the podcast. In fact, last month was our biggest month at 1.4 million listens. So we have a massive audience listening to our show because we have great people like Desiree that come on and share so much knowledge and wisdom. And that's why we're able to continue to grow our audience in such a meaningful way. And the reality is most podcasts are going to get 132 listens per episode. That's the average podcast listens per episode. And by the way, that's fine. That's awesome. Like imagine being in a room with 150 people and speaking to them on a consistent basis. Like that's a huge audience. It's a huge opportunity, especially when you're going niche, which most people should be going very niche with their topic, with their idea, with their product, with their service, with their solution to a real problem. So my encouragement is like, listen, sponsorships are a great route for us. We were able to, it was actually at about month 10, start bringing sponsors on our show for not much because we didn't have many listens back then. And this is in 2012 into 2013. We didn't have that many listens of the podcast, so we weren't making that much money on sponsorships. But as our audience has grown, because of CPM, which is the sponsorship method, which is cost per 1,000 listens, now we're able to generate a lot of money through the podcast sponsorships because we have a lot of listens. But I'm not a big fan of sponsorships, and I'm actually about to be the opening keynote for the conference We Are Podcast in 29 minutes right now, and I'm actually going to talk pretty negatively about sponsorships on that show for my presentation, which is how to monetize in the first 6 months of your podcast. I believe sponsorships are great down the road when you've built an established, decent sized, like raving, committed, engaged audience. Absolutely. But when you start, why would you want to send the trickle of listeners that you have to somebody else's product or service just for a smaller dollar amount? When you're doing it as an affiliate, it makes sense because you're getting a big check in return for each sale that you make. When you're doing it as a sponsor, you're making pennies or dollars for sending somebody to somebody else. So that just doesn't make sense. I'm a much bigger believer in keeping things in your bubble as much as possible for the first 6 to 12 months as you're creating your content, so that you can be the person that's building the know, like, and trust, that's engaging with your audience, that's asking the question, what's your biggest struggle right now? And then you create the solution. And that first solution might not work. And again, I haven't had the time to go into depth about all the things that I've tried that haven't worked, but there's plenty of things my audience is like, yeah, I'm struggling with this. Oh, let me take the time to create the perfect solution. Here's the perfect solution. Not really interested. And that happens. And then you try the next thing and the next thing. And then all of a sudden you do it, something, and click, and it just hits. And it's like, that's now going to be your thing. And for us, that was really Podcaster's Paradise. And that's why for now 7 years, we've been doubling down on all things Podcaster's Paradise. So that's my little side rant on sponsorships.
Okay, thanks for sharing, because I know it is a significant part of your revenue. All right, so I know your time is, we really, really appreciate you taking the time in light of what you have ahead to join us today. How can those who want more and those who want to connect with you more and so forth, because I don't know how much time you have for questions, but how can we stay in touch with you, and how can ladies find out more about what you're doing?
Yeah, I'll take 2 quick questions if you want to, identify a couple questions that might have come in, and I'll have to be pretty brief on those because I do have to get into the green room for my next chat today. But
Thank you.
While you're prepping that, I will say that the best way to connect with me is over at my website, eofire.com. We have a great newsletter where we share just a lot of great tips, tools, and tactics for entrepreneurs. We have a bevy of free courses, completely free, that teach people coming up with their big ideas, podcasting, creating funnels, affiliates, all of that stuff. So it's all free on the website. Of course, if you listen to podcasts, I would love if you checked out Entrepreneurs on Fire. You can actually obviously subscribe at your favorite podcasting channel. But if you go to my website, eofire.com, and search for Desiree in the search bar, you can start by listening to the episode I did with Desiree, which was pretty awesome. And, just because podcasting is my main focus, I will say that I've created a unbelievably valuable and completely free course, freepodcastcourse.com. And I'll even drop it in the chat right here, just so you guys can have the quick link. But it's a completely free course on how to create and launch your podcast with all video tutorials, the templates, all that jazz. So if anybody's considering going down that road or has gone down that road, it can be a very helpful thing for you.
Fantastic. I've taken the course, and then Monique said she's taken the course, and it is.
Oh, thanks, Monique.
And I've done it a couple of times as well. So question, she has about, so you're charging your guests $3,500. When did you
Yes.
start doing that, and how does that work?
So for the first 5 years, I did a daily podcast, 2,000 episodes in 2,000 days. That's a lot of guests per month, per year. Sorry, that's 365. When we shifted 2.5 years ago to 3 days per week, the supply and the demand thing just kind of did one of these, because we currently get 400 to 600 inquiries per month, which we then send people to an application, of which we typically get between 60 to 80 applications every single month, which we then whittle down to just the 12 that we bring onto the show every single month. So it's a very detailed process. Like I said, I do have a small team, but I do have a team. So, it's a business, we have expenses, and we built a massive platform. And so I said, listen, we have so many people that want to be on, so many people that are qualified to be on. If you're truly an entrepreneur on fire, you can invest $3,500 to be exposed to a massive audience and a massive platform that's then going to be able to help you in many ways, shapes, and forms. Like, for instance, frankly, like Desiree had an amazing like pitch for me to come on her summit. If we hadn't had the relationship of the podcast episode we did, it was an easy no for me. But on the flip side, it was an easy yes for me because we have a relationship, we've connected. She's delivered amazing value to my audience. So now I'm happy to come on and do the same for her. So like it's building the connection, seeing the value there. And another thing that I love, by the way, and anybody that's a podcaster may or may not have experienced this, but listen, no matter how big your show gets, there's still going to be people that show up and they're just kind of like, oh yeah, like my secretary booked this, like, what are we doing right now? And their audio is horrible and they don't even like know that you're interviewing them. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough where I was just like, you know what? I feel like if somebody pays $3,500, they're going to show up on time, great audio quality, ready to crush it value-wise, giving amazing gifts to my audience, again, to have them go and become part of their world, which they do. And then when the show goes live, they're going to share it with the world. So now all of those things happen every single show because people are having to put a sizable investment to be part of Entrepreneurs on Fire. So again, I would never have been able to do it years 1, 3, 5, but in year 7, 8, where I'm at now with the listens and the audience that I have, it's an absolute no-brainer for people.
And I think it's a very, very reasonable investment. And the thing is, if they don't pay attention. So if they pay attention. So you're exactly right.
I like that.
that.
Okay, last question, then I got to go.
Are you allowing people to join your podcast Paradise now? And some of the
Yes, you can go ahead and check out Podcasters Paradise right there. We have the video, the explanation of everything we have, and it's open.
All right, fantastic. So in closing, what would you like to leave our listeners with today?
I'm a big believer in this Albert Einstein quote, which is try not to become a person of success, but a person of value. And that's where things flipped for me when I, in 2012, said, you know what, I'm just going to become a person of value, release a daily podcast every single day for free, consistently, and just see what happens. Like that's when those 6 years of struggle that I mentioned earlier, that's when that struggle ended. And not immediately, like it took 6 or 8 months of doing that every day before I had that first thing that I was able to offer my audience. And then, 6 months later, the second thing, and then 2 years later, the third, and whatever it was. But it was all stemming from that quote of being a person of value.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we do appreciate your value that you brought to us. Ladies, give us a big, 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 big round of applause to them. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good luck, and we will be in touch.
Thank you.
So
Adios.
much, Sean. Yes. Woo, there was a lot of fantastic information in a short period of time. Yes? I hope you were paying attention. What do you think, Jamie? Think they were paying attention?
I think they were definitely paying a lot of attention. And to some of the content as well.
Yes, yes. So some of it sounds very familiar, as far as the mentorship, as far as the masterminds, as far as I just talked about your numbers, I talked about your mountain, depends on what your mountain is. It doesn't have to be $100,000, it doesn't have to be $1 million. But just kind of set that as far as the consistency, creating content consistently builds a community. Starting somewhere, getting started, being able to get started, and then it happens. I mean, there are so many things that just reiterate, those are the basic things. When you've been in business, those things you have to do over and over again to create whatever your success is. So who has a thought or a question or feedback from that? Then how is our timing? We have another couple of ladies that are going to be coming on shortly to be able to be able to even share even more. And these are women, the girls next door, so to speak. I say the millionaires next door. So maybe we should go to a quick breakout session, so you can decide in that breakout session what are you going to do today? Again, to attended all week or even attended this last couple of hours and not do any action, not do any movement, it would be in vain. So, so what are you going to do now? Today, you've got a whole Saturday and Sunday, and I'm assuming they've got nothing else better to do this weekend, but to be able to create your product, be thinking about what you need and make the commitment. If you're not willing to start with a mentor, someone to teach you and show you how to do it, then it's not, everyone that you're going to hear is going to say that's important. If you're not willing to put part of a mastermind, then you're not going to get the joy from the success that you need in California. So get ready to start and You are yes or no, you're being listen. So let's enjoy. Let's go into the breakout room, and let's just kind of really enforce and say like, what we're going to do today. Today, we say yes to all those things. We say yes to membership. We say yes to mentorship. We say yes to mastermind. We say yes to learning how to figure in content, consistency, building community, and the numbers.
She's breaking up.
I am okay. Well, go through your breakout.
There you are. You're clear.
Okay, so go through your breakout rooms and let's just kind of just say to each other, like, what's going to happen next? What's your next? We have a great celebration we're going to have for all the members.
Oh, I don't see a little break. Mine doesn't. Oh, there it goes. Never mind.
So remember,
So just click on the blue join breakout room button, folks. Go to the breakout room. And from everything you've seen or heard, what are you going to take action on? And then we'll be back shortly. If you want Amy and I to have that one-on-one session with you just to help you quantify and clarify, by all means respond to the text or private chat to us here just by clicking our name, sending us a private message. I've got a couple of calls, but I still have a couple of spaces to be able to share my knowledge base to assist you in moving forward. So just drop in the chat, what's the one thing, or if you want to take advantage of take advantage of Amy, my wife, with her knowledge, and so yeah, definitely it was just drop in the chat there the thing that interests you most, the podcast, the social media, all the different things that we've learned.
Awesome. Yep. So make sure you do that, and let's bring back on the woman of the hour, Desiree Dubrow.
Woo-hoo! Ladies, hi ladies. Wasn't that exciting to be able to hear? Again, you've heard me constantly for the last 5 days talk about how important mentorship is and masterminds and creating content and videos and podcasts as your articles. And although he does it and he does really well with his program, the podcast. But someone mentioned to me, well, that's great, but I need to learn how to do it. And exactly, that's what the Power 7 is. Power 7 is designed for you to learn how to do those things, for you to learn how, not only by participating in our mastermind and our membership program, that you're able to learn how to do your podcast in addition to, but more importantly, the articles. Remember the young lady said that she makes thousands of dollars and got the opportunities from the articles. Make sure the videos, they learn about their videos and to monetize their videos. Make sure that it's creating your own products and programs and services. How do you do that? Being able to create your own content, be able to build your own audience, being able to do your numbers and how you structure that and how you're able to learn what your gross and what your net is going to be. So it's learning all of that, being part of all of that so that you can actually branch out on your own and do whatever part that you feel that you're genius in, that you enroll in. Because you do all of it and you find out what's best for you. So who really thought that was a great example of all those things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so now we have two young ladies that have I've known for a beautiful, beautiful while, and that have, and I'm going to share. Let's say we have Monique Hom, who is the founder and director of Real Estate Investment Goddesses, and her passion is motivating women and getting women involved in real estate. And then, as well as Gina DeVee. Gina DeVee has Divine Living, and her passion is being able to motivate women to live their best life and to follow their dreams and their treatments. So let's start with Gina, because I've known Gina for when we were just starting Power 7. She was just getting off the bus or the train or the plane from her where she was raised, and she was. You tell them the story. You tell us.
When I had about $7 to my name, Desiree was starting the Power of 7. I said, I'll come. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here, Desiree. It's always so great being with you.
She didn't know any better. She came to LA. She just somehow fell into our community, and it was like, okay, this is what can be done. And I know I'll never ever forget, Gina, when some of the ladies would complain about what they were able to do at the second Sundays, our beautiful second Sundays, and you said they couldn't afford to come. I think it's maybe worth, I don't know, $30, $50 at the time. You said I couldn't afford not to come to the second Sundays because you were able to build your business and you were offering some amazing, you packaged some amazing things and you presented them well and people responded to it. So take it away.
Oh, well, it's so good to be here. And yes, stay close to this woman, Desiree. I had just moved to Los Angeles from Detroit, and I had been a broke, struggling psychotherapist. And I was like, I was going to be a life coach in LA because that's unique and original. And so I was now broke and friendless. And somebody told me about, have you checked out An Empowered Woman? And so I hightailed it over to that second Sunday brunch and never looked back. I was there early, stayed late, soaking up all the high vibes. Desiree just collects the best people. And literally it's where my business and career were birthed and nurtured and loved. It takes a community to raise a business, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my compliment. It's such a compliment for me to out of your busy schedule to come back and to share. So you tell us about your community you developed. Tell us how we've done like the presentations together, where you present from the stage and so you created your packages. And I remember the packages you first started with, you even incorporated some of the, what was the send out cards in it and how you developed that and built that package. I know you probably forgot about that. And the packages, how you did your events, how you've utilized your magazine, the beautiful Divine Living magazine, how you've done your podcast. I mean, you just actually implemented like all the wonderful things that we say that are necessary and desirable to create what you've created.
So, well, yes, I haven't given up. That's for sure. I think that's the most important thing about entrepreneurship. Is you keep trying new things and you keep going with your heart and your passion and have a bit of a business sense around it as well. Those things will last longer. My magazine is not in existence because my husband calls that a 7-figure mistake. Well, then there's that. So I think that, I just had a drive and a passion, and I started putting things out into the world that I would want to consume. And I think that's, one of the big mistakes people make is that they keep thinking like, well, what do people want? And what do people want to hear? And what do people want to buy? And they're so thinking about that part. And I want you to consider you and what are you passionate about putting out in the world, and what kind of money are you looking to make, and what kind of value do you place on it? Because what's most personal is most universal. And if you'd buy it for that price point and are lit up about it, very likely other people are as well. And so, of course, it's necessary to have free offers along the way so that people can sample what it is you have. I've now started the Divine Living podcast, so you can subscribe to that and check that out. Of course, that's free. We have all kinds of resources on our website that are free at divineliving.com. And then there's paid offers too that, and they've changed over the years. They used to be a lot of high-end programs and retreats. Now I have a book out in the world. It's called The Audacity to Be Queen, The Unapologetic Art of Dreaming Big and Manifesting Your Most Fabulous Life. And most recently, Desiree, I don't know if you've seen it, I just launched what's called the Q Club. And it's basically this like Gina DeVee Netflix meets Food Network meets Goop magazine. And it's like right now it's like, I don't know, $30 a month for this like vortex of a high vibe community. And this year we all had to pivot. We all, all of my high end programs had high end retreats. I had an international book tour planned. And, we all know that everything, no matter what it looks like, it's all happening for us, not to us. And when you approach life like Desiree does, always with a smile, always with a positive attitude, always with a spiritual connection, you're then open to receiving the blessings that are coming your way, even when you didn't even think that you needed them or thought that they were even in existence. So I don't know what else would be of best service here, Desiree, but that's a little bit of the journey.
No, I mean, what you're saying is this can reiterating what we've been sharing. It's the same mindset. But the reason why I thought you and Monique were so, valuable because we're all committed to empowering women and women in business at one level or the other. I remember when you were starting the retreats, you said you wanted to travel the world. And I remember you speaking into that dream, like, I want to be in France and I want to be here and there. And I want to be coach women and they pay thousands of dollars or, commit to their masterminds and to a mentorship program that they actually committed to. So my question is that you had that dream, share that dream with us because some others may have that same dream and let people know that it was real and you did live it. And then how valuable people engaging in masterminds and in mentorships to be able to move because you invested, again, you and Monique are the people that I know invested not thousands, but I know hundreds of thousands of dollars into masterminds, into mentorships, and to programs to be able to move your business. And I say that some people feel they can just do it on their own and they don't need to do it. They don't need it. It's not required because they don't need a brick and mortar business and don't need stoves and sinks and merchandise. But share how you had this great dream of manifesting your vision around the world and what you did to support you in that.
Yes. Well, it's really true. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. So when I first moved to LA, I remember our first Christmas, my then boyfriend, now husband, we had this dream of traveling, but we were so broke. And I bought him an ornament, and it was a globe ornament of the world. And I said, one day we're going to travel the world. And that was like as far as I got that year. But it was an intention and it was a dream. And I had a belief that somehow it could happen. And then, I think when you start asking, like, how can it happen versus taking yourself out of the game too quickly, like, how can you, with whatever your dream is, make more money? Or when we get to travel again, how can I travel? Or how can I find my clients? Or how can I sell these products? That when you ask a better question, you really do get an answer. And so I don't remember which one came first, but let's say I wanted to go to Italy, then I would say, like, well, how can I go to Italy? And I was like, well, I could host a retreat here in LA, or I could host one in Florence. And so I really did start. Well, actually, I'm going to back up the bus. I remember now, the first destination intensive. It didn't start with a retreat. It started with a 1-day intensive, and I had built up my business a bit at this point, so I had to have gotten somewhat okay at sales. And my clients kept asking me, Gina, will you teach us how you do sales? Will you teach us how you do sales? And I was like, it's not really what I'm on the planet for, but like, I guess it'll help people and make money. So sure. So I went and created the Sales Superstar class, and 125 people signed up for it, which for me was a big deal at the time. Like, I was used to like 10 people signing up for something. And I was like, well, this was fun. Mama didn't raise no fool. Let's do Sales Superstar too. Like, you can't learn everything you need to know in 6 weeks. And so I had a 5,000 person list at the time, 125 happy campers. And I'm thinking, like, so we'll like just build on this. How many do you think I got for Sales Superstar 2? Anyone want to say in the chat? 5. I had 5 excited Sales Superstar tours signed up for my $497 teleclass. And I was like, what is going on? And rather than tell myself, Gina, you can't even sell a $497 class. What do you like? How do you think you're going to do anything? I knew better. I didn't check in spiritually. I didn't get divinely guided to launch Sales Superstar 2. I did it because I thought it would make money. And I knew by definition it would help people, but I wasn't really guided. And so I went into prayer and meditation, and I really asked, I said, dear God, how would you have my life be used? And then I heard this question that I've continued to ask, and I want you all to ask yourself this as well. what's the most pleasurable way I can make this money? What's the most pleasurable way I could make money? I was like, well, that was foreign to me. I mean, my parents were school teachers. We weren't rich, but we weren't poor. It's like, and wasn't about pleasure. So I was like, all right, let's do it. What's the most pleasurable way I could make money? And I was like, and it just dropped in. I was like, if I could host a 1-day intensive, which I historically had done in my living room of my little Santa Monica apartment Desiree had been to, if I could host a 1-day intensive, because I loved coaching and transforming lives, at the Ritz in Paris, that would be a pleasurable way to make money. And then I was like, what would the price point be? And I remember I just heard very clear, 15,000. And I was like, does anyone make $15,000 for a day? Like, I was like, I don't know about this. And I was like, I just heard 15,000. So I was like, yeah, all right. So I was like, and then, well, the Lanesborough in London is a lovely hotel. And what about a villa in Provence and like a Riyadh and Marrakesh? Like, you know, this, so I went and put out 7 destination intensives. I put the little picture of the Ritz in Paris and the Riyadh and Marrakesh and 7, but the $15,000 price point underneath it. And like, you know, when you like hit send and you kind of duck under the couch, you're like, and in the first 24 hours, a woman from Canada, who apparently was on my list, I didn't even know her, called and said, save the Ritz in Paris for me. It's always been my dream to go where Coco Chanel had lived. I didn't even know that's where she lived. So it's like, okay, honey, we'll save that for you. And in 5 days, all 7 of the destination intensives sold out. And what it showed me was that when you come from a place of passion and you come from being spiritually guided, we women have gotten so pathetically practical, so probable and predictable. Like, we need to get outrageous again and do what delights us and be in our feminine essence and flair and power. That's why Desiree is always so creative, always reinventing. And that becomes attractive. People want some of that. And apparently 7 people also wanted to visit Provence, and I think there was a Greek Isle situation happening. I don't even remember at this point, but that's how I started traveling the world.
And then you've gone on to do more and more. So what's the largest one that you've done with the Ministry Beyond People and the highest price point? Like, when did you how did you edge it up a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, when you realized that, okay, this is...
Sure. So I've done different things. So then I did a transformation in Tuscany retreat because that sounded fun. That was 10 people at 5,500. I mean, my highest end group was probably 125,000 for the year. And we went to different, I've done, but 25, 50 grand groups. Last year, I guess, cause it's just not 2020, but like the real last year. So someone said they're going to talk to God and they're like, this doesn't count. This one does not count. I'm getting this year recouped. So like the last real year that we had, it was really fun. We started out in Egypt, and I held the event at the Four Seasons on the Nile River. And then for my top tier clients, I had the Four Seasons do this private dinner in front of the pyramids. And there was like, you know, traditional music, and it was this 15-course dinner, and it was like mind blowing. So that was really fun. And then I've hosted, I hosted the next retreat on a yacht in Mykonos. And then the last one, we did 3 a year, was at there's a woman who has a Michelin star in Venice, Italy. And I got her to cook us dinner. You pay for it, to cook us dinner at her home. So we had this like private Michelin starred dinner experience in her home in Venice, Italy. So that was fun. But I mean, it goes on and on. I have had the blessing of, first and foremost, having a front row seat into people's lives, because that's what I've always cared about. I'm like obsessed with transformation. And then to be able to do it in a way that, you know, people change through travel. Like, you don't see life in the same way. So to be able to do it in these really luxurious experiences, and And part of my role in the world, I just thought I liked luxury, and like I thought, who didn't and doesn't everybody? And I just needed the money. I knew what to do with it. But that's one of my superpowers. I didn't realize over the years so many women came to me because one of my clients came. She's like, Gina, I don't know anything about travel. I don't know where to go. She goes, I just keep signing up for your programs because you're like my travel agent for the year. And I'm like, hope you like the business element of it also there. And so it's what I love to do, and it couldn't be easier, and it comes so natural to me. So that's the other thing, for whatever feels easy and passionate and natural to you, do that. Lean into that.
So I know that, many of the ladies, many people, period, men and women, have a hesitancy about the big ticket items, whether it's investing into them
Mhm.
or actually presenting them. Share with us about that mindset, because you speak to that. You speak to that, if I was to actually, and how you found the money to do some of the different mentoring programs you did, and then,
Oh,
but then
Lord.
also you develop the nerve, or like that nerve to push that button with a $15,000 or $100 and something thousand program. You know,
Mhm.
mindset,
Well,
that money mindset.
I think I started to give myself permission to charge that amount when I had invested that amount. I remember the very first one that I did, it was like a Tony Robbins coaching program. It didn't even have Tony in it. It was like one of his coaches, and it was a $3,000 program, which might as well have been like 30 million to me at the time. And I'd ruined my credit. I'd maxed out all my credit cards. I had like next to no money in the bank. I had no website. It was like broke as a joke central. I had one credit card left, and it had exactly $3,000 on it. And I remember sitting at my desk, just looking at this card like it was like this alien. And I was like, Gina, like the money's going to go. The money's going to go. There's going to be groceries and gas and just like pay your electric bill kind of vibes. And then you're really going to be at zero, because you're going to be the same that you are today. You don't know how to make money. You don't know how to do this business thing. But if you invest in yourself, if you roll the dice, if you take a gamble on you, you have a chance at actually learning how to be different than you are today. And when I say be different, I didn't mean that I changed. I meant my knowledge base, my education would have changed. So I remember shaking as I gave those credit card numbers over the phone and signed up for my first $3,000 program, which I was like scared, shaking, did it. And then you really get how money is currency, currency is energy. Cause I felt this whoosh of energy go through me. And it's like, I had invested energy in me. And then literally my consciousness changed immediately. And I was like, I didn't even have my first coaching session. I said, I just invested $3,000 in myself. I'm going to start charging $3,000. I was charging like $125 an hour at the time. And so I put together my package of 3 grand, and then I started selling that. And then I was like, okay. And then I would sign up for $15,000 something. And so then I felt like I could start charging that. And so you feel a real level of street cred when you've done something, when you know what it is to invest that money. And then I remember there was this one program that my husband and I did every year for like 5 years. It was 25 grand. And I say it that way, not to be nonchalant, and not because that amount of money to this day isn't a sizable amount. But so there were three retreats. This was no Divine Living group, people. This was like one of those dude internet marketing groups. I think you got like San Diego, Austin, and I don't know, probably like Vegas in August or something. It was not sexy. But anywho, it was 25 grand. And every year that we signed up for it, I only went to one of the retreats, because it was like a spring one. And then in the summer, I was always gone in Europe. And in the fall, I was always doing my own stuff. And my clients knew it. And they would ask me, they're like, why do you pay 25 grand to go to one retreat? And I said, because every time I go to that one retreat, I get something that is way more than 25 grand. I meet one person, I get one referral, I get one business idea that goes and makes me hundreds of thousands. I meet one joint venture partner that makes me millions. Like why would I not go and spend 25 grand? Like I get more than my money's worth. And you don't, it's like the Four Seasons buffet. You don't have to sample all the dishes to get your money's worth. Just enjoy the fish station if that's what you like.
Absolutely. So, so, so beautifully said. That's so beautifully said. Thank you so much for that. And we're going to circle back, but I want to be able to hear from Monique as well.
Yes.
So, it's like, so just ladies, put questions in the chat, things you want to ask Gina, because she's a wealth of information and a wealth of experience. And you see that what beauty is these ladies are so transparent. I mean, they're so real. So they're telling you exactly like it is. And that's what I love, I love about. So Monique, good afternoon, good morning, wherever she's in Mexico. Can I tell where you are right now? Tell them where you
Sure.
are.
I'm in Puerto Vallarta right now.
Vacay. She's on vacay right now. So again, thank you so much for taking time out of your son and your whatever else will be going on to join us today. So I don't remember the years, but about 5 years ago, tell us how we met and how you started your business. And I do remember the fact that I remember you saying, I was in real estate, and you said, I want to get women involved in real estate. I want to make women invest in real estate. I want to make women to be millionaires in real estate. And so I said, okay, start a community. Why don't you start a membership? Why don't you start a community? And this kind of grew from there, and all the things that you've been doing now. So bring us up to speed.
I met you even before I was wanting to do real estate investor goddesses and help women through real estate. I think at the time, it's funny, Gina's talking about being a life coach in LA. I think I was trying to be a life coach here. And I was just taking a life coaching class. And I was an attorney, and I'd been fired when I was pregnant in 2008. I think I might have met you, it might have been 2009, 2010. You were doing an Empowered Woman Foundation, something or other, and I was chosen to participate in that. And it was like financially, we were really, really struggling. Because after it's like kind of in the market, and I didn't have a job, and I joined, and I think we did some, and then when it came time when I had the idea, I got the download. I started doing real estate. I got the download to do Real Estate Investor Goddesses with a mission to help 1 million women create financial freedom through real estate investing. I thought, okay, I need to connect with Desiree, and I wanted to do the Power of 7. And Desiree, you might even have called me about something else, because you're good that way, because you follow up and you stay in touch. I've learned from Desiree too, the fortunes and the follow-up. She's really, really good that way. And I don't know what you were calling about, but you called me, and then I was like, yeah, I need to do your program. I need to do the Power of 7. And I think we even did a one-on-one thing.
Yeah, we started with the one.
And I went and I met you, and we spent the day just going through and recorded videos and did all the, you guys have been experiencing this past few days, how amazing, you've just gotten a taste test of how amazing it is. But we did it. And at the time, I got the idea, okay, let me do a podcast. And so I started the Real Estate Investor Goddesses podcast now. I was not doing an episode a day, like that's intense. I was not going to do that, but I did one a week. And I think it's been, 2.5 months later, 2.5 years later, still doing it. And that consistency, I don't have millions of downloads. I have close to 100,000 downloads now. But what it has brought people into my sphere as well is I've connected with I've been on a lot of other people's podcasts, and on all of that has it's been worth multiple 7 figures to my business, just with the connections. Gina was talking about, why would you invest a little bit just to go? Because, it's the connections that you make, that you're introduced to somebody, or we've gotten we got a lot of investors, a lot of different people have come in. It's definitely tangentially been worth probably the eight figures to my business. And then let's see, what else did I do? I tried pretty much all of it. I tried all of it at certain points. Some things worked better than others in my business, but events have been phenomenal for us. I'm very inspired by Gina. It's like, I want some Four Seasons. We did a retreat in Belize last year when we were allowed to leave the country, which was really nice. I was like, I could amp it up even more. I'm all about pleasure. We talk about, I love that you're about how can you pleasurably make money. We in the real estate investor class, it's like, how do you do real estate investing in a pleasurable way? That's one of the things we focus on. And I'm like, yeah, I could up my pleasure game on my events. I'm inspired, which is another really nice thing about like even just being in groups like this, right? Desiree has an awesome mastermind, and then you just learn and you're inspired by other people, and there's little ideas that come up and how other people are doing things, and that really helps amp my game, amp up the game. I personally have invested, just in the past like 5 years, well over $250,000 in my personal development and my business development, and it's paid off. It definitely pays off. And just one insight, right, that can shortcut years makes such a big difference. It is totally worth it. And the Power of 7 has been incredibly worth. I mean, you leave with this plan, just like, here's how you can, the last time I did it, I think I went to your beautiful place there in San Diego a year ago, December. And I was like, okay, here's your, and I think most people are like 6 figure, like, well, okay, well, I did the 6-figure one already. It's like, what's the 7-figure plan now? And you're like, right? So you wrote it down. It's like, okay, here's how you can do it. And it's like, and you show us how to do it in a way that's doable. It's not like, okay, if you break your back and you work like, and John Lee Dumas, he was intense, but your plan was not, okay, you're going to podcast 7 days a week for 5 years straight, and then you're going to make 100,000. It's like, no, like, what can you fit within your busy schedule that would, like, you can do this, and it feels like, oh yeah, that's totally doable. That's not too hard, right? It takes action, but it's a very doable plan that you leave with. Something that is like could easily fit. It is work, but it's not like hustle and grind and like I'm gonna have to just, if I stop eating or if I give up my kids, like whatever, then I can do it. It's like very, very doable. And I love how it's so practical that way. And, you take people through all these different processes that they could do, but you don't leave with a plan where you have to do all of them. Might be 1 or 2, max 3, but ones where you're like, could you do this? Yeah, I could do that. And that one seems the most fun to me. Great, we'll put that. How if you did this and this and this, boom, 6 figures. And it's amazing. So that's really, really helped. And, just over these past few years, having a podcast and a YouTube and just growing little by little, growing my community. So it's still in growth phase, but we have about 20,000 women on our list, and it's growing. And it's through these, through what y'all are learning here, that I've been able to do that.
And you've also on your own, thank you for sharing that and reminding everybody that it does take that kind of investment, but it doesn't have to be that difficult to get the rewards from it. But you also have a book, you're a published author, you've got a book, and I think you're working on another book.
That one's a novel, different, but yeah.
Minutes a day doing that. But you really knocked it out of the park with events as well. Again, and you've done the virtual as well as the live events. And at your live events, you created a event, a 2 or 3 day event where you bring women together from all over. You've utilized marketing and the advertising to bring people together, and then you bring other speakers on to be able to share their levels of expertise, and then you also create you've gotten sponsors to sponsor that contribute towards that event. You have affiliates that you do. You've incorporated in your own mastermind, your own membership groups, your own products, programs, and services. And so it's being able to tie all that together. So in doing that, and you do it so seamlessly, what has been your really big, for you, what your big ticket item is really moved your needle forward and it has been really pleasurable for you, and then how easy or difficult that's been? Because you mentioned, I tell people it's a buffet of information. You don't have to do everything.
Yeah, you definitely do not have to do everything. I think for the biggest game changers for my business, partly that's because of what I most love to do, are the events, which were, starting more with live events. This year was the year of the great pivot. So my live events turned into virtual events, and that worked also really powerfully and well, and abundantly. So for me, events have been the main revenue driver, though I've also started, doing webinars. Webinars are working really well. And so I have different funnels, like a freebie to an email series, to a webinar, to a sales call. That's working quite well as well. So the webinars and the events have been probably the best thing for my business, though all of the other things help bring leads. It's this like circle, right? So there are all of these different ways that people get onto my wheel and find me. So they might come find me from listening to the podcast or hearing me on somebody else's podcast, or they might find me on Instagram or through the blog, so there are a lot of different ways that they find us, or on our Facebook groups. And then from there, we just sort of, we're guiding them around the different things that could serve them. And so then they can get into our community and our programs.
We had people talk about the articles and the events and things of that type. For not as many people, we've spoken about the webinars. So just in brief, to give the ladies a takeaway, just walk through your webinar process and how that has profited you. So first you do the emails and just kind of, bring them into that one segment, because we haven't talked a lot about that. It's definitely part of our program, but we haven't talked about a lot of that.
Yeah, webinars are great. So I have kind of like one-off ones, and then I have an automated one. Doesn't feel automated, but it is. So I'll talk about the one-off ones. Like we just had one a couple weeks ago, which was, it's probably 50, 60K and counting, that one. That was pretty good for an hour and a half of work. Yes. So that's just like, that was one webinar, and then giving content's valuable. And then at the end, just here's a program. If you're interested, here's an application, get on the phone. So that's kind of like the one-off webinars. And then we have an automated one. It's very similar, but it's a 90-minute webinar that I had done live, and now is an ever webinar. But I have a download, a free download. It's investing in real estate from $1 to $1 million. That I created this free guide that people download. So I have, mostly it's Facebook ads pointing to this free download. People get it. From there, they're put into an email series. Well, they're also invited right away. Like, okay, here's this how to get started in real estate investing, even as a busy professional woman webinar. Would you like to join our free training? And they click, and there are different times that they could do it. So they can go right into the training, or there's a email series that introduces them to me and the community and different things that are available, and then is also re-inviting them into that webinar. Then they, a certain percentage goes to that webinar, and then from there, a certain percentage applies for the program and gets onto a sales call. So that works really, really well. And when we just like pump up the ads, then even more come in. So that both of those are like, yeah, the one-off and the automated one are really great.
And so for the automated one, what's the price points of your packages that you're offering there?
From 3,000 to and then to 30,000 at the top level.
Okay. And what about your live ones, or the ones that you do your one-offs? Is that about
It's the same. It's the same program. Though in the one-off, we focus more on the top level. That last one, the upper level offers.
So we hear, you make it sound so simple, and it is. I mean, ladies, it's not that really difficult once you know the formula and how to do it. And once you have the community, and you have the content, and you'll be able to just utilize another platform to be able to share it with. But then, as we've been sharing as well, like what has been the most difficult or the least advantageous or profitable project or medium for you? So it's going to vary for individuals. So, but it's nice to know that, and I say this because some of the ladies are not having their success in certain areas than others. And
Yeah.
so failure, or they feel like they're not doing it. So every platform is not going to be for you, and every platform is not going to be for your community that you're trying to enroll. We talked about the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Some people are going to roll more through the audio, or some people roll more the video, some more the written word, some of the live events where they can know, like, and touch you. So kind of share some of that reality with us as well.
Yeah, I think in terms of what, so, having just heard from John Lee Dumas, it's interesting because I have like a love-hate relationship with my podcast. And I'm like, every few months, I'm like, do I keep doing this? Like, why do I keep doing it? Because it's probably one of it's like the one thing that takes the most, well, I've gotten it to a point where I have other people doing a lot of the stuff. For a lot of time, it was the one thing that took the most of my time and had the least return on investment. Did we lose Desiree? Here? Did she pop off? I'm like, where'd she go? I was looking at
She popped off.
Sometimes
keep going.
Out, but just
I'll keep answering the question.
I'm here with you. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll keep answering. I was looking at her. Now she's gone. But anyway, so in terms of like the direct return on investment, it's not so much a monetary return on investment, it's a time return on investment. And Terry was like, how do you balance your time? So time is my most precious resource. I have a lot of things that I'm doing in addition to being, a mom and a wife and trying to have sanity and exercise and so Real Estate Investor Goddesses is kind of like my side business. My real business is investing in real estate. So I have that other business, and then, parents that are sick and have to, like, there's a lot to do. So my time is my most precious resource. And with the podcast, especially when I was doing most of it, it was a lot of my time. And it takes a lot before you can start getting a return on investment, at least with especially since I have a very niche podcast, right? It's interviewing women real estate investors. It's not as a big potential audience as entrepreneurs like John Lee Dumas has. So, but how it has really helped me and why I keep doing it, in part, it's been the relationships that I have made probably now I'm about like 100, I've had like 150, 200 interviews with different women. And I have these like incredible relationships with the most amazing women in the real estate space. And those relationships have been very fruitful and advantageous. And then it's gotten me onto other people's podcasts and other people's podcasts. There's like, I was on Bigger Pockets podcast. Just that podcast alone has probably brought multiple 7 figures into my business, just showing up for like 1 hour and a half interview. And having, being a podcast host, having that consistency, and people find them like a long time later. So people, I made something 1.5 years ago and somebody is finding it and comments and then gets onto my list that way. So it's still valuable. And I use my podcasts. I didn't start at first recording them video wise, but then I started to do them on Zoom. So now I have the video and I have a YouTube channel where those go. And then the podcast is, wherever podcasts go. And then I have a team that takes the transcript, makes a blog post. So it's that, and then I have a social media person who pulls little clips from it or quotes from the podcast and reuses that content. So it's being valuable in its way, and especially with team that helps take care of it, then that it doesn't take that much time for me anymore. Like at this point, I just show up for the interview and that's it. And then my team just goes off and does what they do with the content. So that was, now it's been worth it, but it was for a lot of time, for much of it, I was like, do I really still want to do this? I don't know. But in the end, I'm glad I've stuck with it.
So Gina, I want to ask you the same question. I want to ask the same question for all the different things that you've done and different things. What has really, you mentioned about your magazine, that it's just a gorgeous magazine. We liked watching it because of the beautiful outfits and the pictures and things of that type. But what are some of the things that you've done that has really been, not for you, not the best thing, but what actually, and I believe everything that you do, something comes from it because it's brought people to you and people are continuing to watch you. So it was not a waste in that respect. It was great branding for exactly the brand that you're trying to build. But what are some of the things that you now do that you feel are the steps that you take has been really valuable and how you've actually done that?
On how
More
I've
of a
actually
how
done what?
to.
On how I've done
What
what?
have you done that's been really successful as far as your business, and then how actually you've actually done that? Like what makes it happen?
Yep. Such a great question. So it does change. The industry changes. And I think that, it's important that people don't get frustrated because they saw someone do something that got them successful and it might not be working the same for you, or what you were doing 3 months ago might not be working in the same way. So I'll share with you what is really working right now. I would say my book. I waited a long time because I didn't believe books were money makers, and I got into business to transform my money story. And so I didn't want an expensive calling card. I think that there are pros and cons to that mentality, because now having my book out in the world, like people are picking it up actually in airports, if you can believe it. And it was in Target and Walmart. So there's people that are outside of the circle that I had contact with. What Monique was talking about, podcasts have probably been the biggest game changer for me in terms of moving the needle, in terms of the most pleasurable way to attract a new audience and engage. Now, I'm not as industrious as Monique. I hired a podcast producer. I talk into this sexy looking microphone and send the file, and they do everything. They edit it, they do the graphics, the clips, the posts, they do everything. I was willing, and that's another way that I'm investing in myself. I invest in that. It's not free. So I would say the podcast is so huge right now. Monique, I was so inspired and grateful. God uses everyone in different ways. I am late to the webinar party and the evergreen webinar. And I have this story that it's not going to work for me because I'm all personality and I can't read off a script and blah, blah, blah. But that's that's literally what I'm doing in 2 weeks. I've blocked off a week to do a webinar. I think that what else is really, really working? Right now, I talked about these larger price points, and of course they're still there and people are still investing in them. I feel like the market has changed. When I first got into the market, everybody was signing up for a 6-figure coaching program. And I remember thinking, this is when I was broke. And I was like, first of all, if I had 6 figures, why would I even need a coach? That just seemed like more money than God. And, events, a 3-day event was $3,000, that was just standard. And then a few years later, you started to see the prices drop a bit, and events were free, or they were $99, or you'd get your $99 back when you walked through the door. So pay attention to, I feel like in this moment, not because I believe in the economy is whatever, anything other than what it is. But I do feel like and this might just be the season of business that I'm in, I'm going more mass and more lower dollar price point. In the beginning, I very consciously wanted the luxury brand of personal development. So I was very high touch, low tech. I was very low volume, high dollar amount. So I think that being in tune with whatever rhythm you're in and whatever really lights you up, so it's like some of my people are like, what, Gina's doing something for $30 a month? Like I don't even know how to sell a $30 something. If you need a $30,000 mastermind group, I can sell it tonight, but $30, people are like, what is it? I'm like, I don't know, just buy it. Like, I think you're gonna like it. So I'm, and you got to play around and try different things and see like really where your sweet spot is. But I would say, I just launched my podcast literally a month ago, 5 weeks ago, where I think we just crossed 30,000 downloads. So it's like, I'm a little late to that party too. So I'm trying to catch up. Like keep doing, I was so excited about the retreats and like the travel events I was doing. I really wasn't paying attention to lots of lead generation and lots of list building. And that can get you really scroungy at times. Like you fish your pond, and you got to keep replenishing. Otherwise things get tight, and they got tight there for me at different phases. So just make sure whatever you're doing, you've got like a consistent list building strategy or audience growing strategy going.
I think there's a lot of valuable nuggets in what both you and Monique says that, brings us back to reality. You got to do you. You got to, first of all, find you.
Mm-hmm.
What is your passion? What do you do as if you don't feel like you're working? Because that way you'll be able to do it until you can't do it anymore. What is your avatar? What market are you really going after? They were very specific in what they were looking for. They were looking for children. They were looking for teenagers. They were looking for men. They weren't looking for, so they were looking for specific, women, in this instance, women, but wanted to grow themselves financially, spiritually, and educationally. And then for Monique in real estate, giving them a tool to be able to build wealth. So they're very specific about their avatar, specific about their market. They went into a niche. And John mentioned that again today. You'll hear that over and over again. What's your niche? Find a niche, stay in that niche. It's enough fish in that pond for you to accomplish any of your goals. Another thing is being able to try the different things. You hear that they've tried different things. Sometimes you've got to try different things and see what you land, not only again for you, but for your people that you're trying to control, your audience, your community. What are they responding to? And if you find something like Virginia with the travel, then that was perfect for them. But you have to have the knowledge of all the other things. So when you do want to pivot, you've got those options. When you're ready to write a book after all the years, you're able to know, to do it, how to market it, how to be able to promote it. She did a beautiful job promoting her book, but she did it through videos, and she did it through articles, and she did it through content. She did it through, she had with her list that she had. And things of that type. So find out, what works for you, and then be able to have enough knowledge in the background to be able to pivot when you need to be able to pivot, and to acknowledge that. Don't say, this is going to be, it doesn't have to be forever. It just has to be for right now, but be very in touch and be very sensitive to what your needs are, but what your community needs are, and be flexible, be flexible and be willing to invest. I mean, again, I know the Gina's invest, I don't even know the number of millions of dollars or hundreds of millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars you've invested in your mentorships. I remember those ladies that came to our second Sundays and were selling the program. We could always be sure that Gina was right there. She was going to sign up for everything, everyone knowing it not. So you really had to trust yourself, and trust what you want to bring to the world, and trust what that, that's going on in your head that you want to do, and do it.
If they say,
and so what do you feel for that?
If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And, men have been doing this for a long time. They've been in cigar lounges. They've been on golf courses, having a good time, doing business deals, networking and meeting people. And literally, I don't think I can say exactly, I just got the biggest dream speaking stage of my life through my mastermind partner. It's like, I didn't get this on my own. I didn't get it because I paid for it. Even like being in community around high vibe people. And when you're like, in like a group program with a mentor, you get mastermind partners, like all the things, like this literally, like I get to go do this thing, and I literally would have paid, I don't know the level of six figures I would have paid to get this opportunity. And it just,
Wow.
it comes through connection. And, the reason why my podcast has grown so quickly, so, like, it's not because I have a cult following. Like, I'm appreciative of the people who are in my community, but my friends, they have followings, and they all jumped on Instagram stories, and they're like, my friend's got a book out, my friend's got a podcast out, go listen to her, and so, like, really being in connection and community and getting, you don't have to figure it all out by yourself. Don't be cheap with yourself, by the way. Women can be like, well, I'm not going to spend that money, like it's a smart thing. It's not smart to not invest in yourself. It's not smart to, like, tinker away and try and figure it out. That's the best way to waste money and time.
Absolutely. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I couldn't have said it better. So, in closing, I really appreciate your contribution and your time. In closing, what messages would each one of you like to leave our listeners with today, our community with today?
Monique, you want to go for it?
Sure. I mean, just listening to what you're saying, which reminds me of a quote from Jim Rohn that says, formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. And definitely investing in programs that will help you to get to the next level, those will make you a fortune. It is very worth it to invest in yourself. I think Warren Buffett says the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. And invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge. That's because it'll help you. It helps you collapse time frames, helps you shortcut things. It helps you avoid costly mistakes, and it helps you to just be able to quantum leap forward. All these investments that I've made, especially ones where I'm like, I don't know if I can afford it, I don't know if it's worth it. And they literally have helped me quantum leap forward. So that's what I'm gonna leave you guys with. Just, invest in yourself. It really is the smartest thing you can do.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, what I was gonna share is, think bigger for yourself. That there's a line in the Course in Miracles that says, our problem is not that we ask for too much, but for too little. And, I would see the women that was great. They'd come to the second Sunday brunch and they'd buy like the regular ticket. And and they went and they had a great time and they met people and they did their thing. I invested in the vendor table. And I came and had a great time and met people and walked out making $10,000 every Sunday. So when you invest in yourself, you get to go exponential. You get to not just inch it forward or not even just have a good time. And the other thing is when you find someone like Desiree, you stay close because yes, there's business and there's opportunities, and she's a great networker and is always coming up with the next new thing, which is going to be exponential in your business. But the thing that is so exponential is the personal relationship. When things aren't going well in your business and you need a confidant, when your personal life is falling apart, like mine was when I first met Desiree. I was estranged from my family. It was really, really hard for me. I felt so much embarrassment and shame around it. And who would come over and sit in my living room and just watch me cry and hold my heart and my emotions and still believe in me when even my own family wasn't. So when you find someone who is so true to the core, from character to integrity to having a great business mind, but like Desiree is the perfect balance of the masculine and the feminine. She can go make things happen and make the millions and do all that stuff, but she's got the feminine soul too and the spirit. And I always remember where I came from, Desiree, and I'm so grateful for all of our moments together.
Oh my gosh. I'm a whole
I echo that
oh
of your heart and your, just who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love you, love you, love you, and wish you nothing but success. Put your information in the chat so people can contact you. But don't worry, I'm going to give it all. They're going to know who you are and how to contact you and what you're doing. But thank you for your gift of your time, your expertise, and your experiences. And I'm there for you.
Anytime. It's been such a pleasure.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Woo. That's That's true. She says it's true. It's true. I mean, that's my heart. That's my love, and supporting women in business and supporting you, and being able to take you to the next level. That's what I'm here to do. And hopefully, you've heard it from enough people through the week. I mean, consistently, they've talked about the same thing I'm saying that I can teach you. You've seen how they've done it. You've seen what they've done. You've seen how, in all the different ways they've done it, and you see that it's all possible. I mean, all of them said they came from a certain point. Nobody came in on a silver spoon, so no matter where you are right now, if you're that one person in your little apartment in San Diego, in Santa Monica, and, and you ordered pizza and your credit card was declined. I mean, whatever you are now does not mean where you need to be, and if we're giving you an opportunity to change that. And then that's basically, we're giving you an opportunity to change that with people that that care, and a community that that loves you and surrounds you with spirit. We're giving you an opportunity to change that. And yes, you can go about it in your little way, and you can say, well, I've been to the Power 7 once, I've been to Power 7 twice. Okay, so my question is, okay, what are you doing now? And if it's not for the money, do you have the credibility, do you have the visibility? But why not get the money while you're doing it so that you can support others? Why not, when that time you put it into, why not? And if you're not there, and that's my question that I asked when I talk to these ladies, when they call and say, what are you doing? Well, if you're not there, then let's get there. That's it. It's that simple. It's not difficult. There's no one said this was so difficult. They said it's not that difficult. And it's not that difficult. And I showed you it's not that difficult. They didn't say, no one said that they had to do, work 7 days a week and 25. I say you can do it in 2 to 4 hours a week. You can create that. And that's the same thing I told them years ago, 12 years ago. It's the same thing. You want to create $100,000? Come to get the program. If you're taking the Power 7 already, again, the difference between this event, the summit, tells you what you can do. The Power 7 tells you you can do it, shows you how you can do it, and the mentoring does it. It does it. It just takes it, takes you and me together on a one-on-one, whether it's virtual or in person, and we get it done. It just takes you to that level. So like, you went to school, kindergarten, you didn't stop there. You had to go to first grade, second grade, third grade. Each time you went back in, each time you went to learn more, each time you invested more time and money into it, you learned more, and until you finished into high school or college, whatever it is. So going to one e-course or going to one Power 7 virtual or going to one Power 7, get it done program in the first 2 days, it's not going to, may not take you to that 100,000 or millions of dollars. You've heard people say they made multiple millions of dollars. So I'm giving you an opportunity to say yes to something that's available to you right here and now, and be able to take whatever goal you want. Again, if it's just $100,000 or $1 million, why not? Because maybe you think, okay, you've got travel, or you've got kids and you want to put in college, or you've got, whatever dream and passions you have, then that's it. This is just the beginning. It's not the end. The end is when you are saying, when you get on this call, when I call you and you get on the summit and you say, okay, this is what I did, this is where I was, and this is what I'm making now. That's when you're finished. That's really when you're finished, ladies. That's really when you're finished. You're not finished yet. This is just still part of the process, but you're not finished yet. There's so much more to go. And I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for the ones that said yes. Excited for the ones that have gone to the website, buypower7.com, and became a member. We're going to have a celebration in a few minutes. We're going to, all the members that are currently members, we're going to go to a celebration. And then what's our time? So we close with a video. We have got 5 minutes. Okay, thank you. But today, I like to close with you. I want you to be our inspiration. I want you to be our aspiration. Like, the videos have been motivating for us. They show us how to be powerful, how to be strong, how to be fearless, how to do all of that. I want you now to let's create our own video right now together as to what you're going to take away, what you're going to do, whether you're strong, whether you're fearless. And I want you to step into it. And those who, again, you still have time to register so that you can participate in our celebration. It's an amazing celebration. And remember, Gina pointed out her mic. Remember, even she had a microphone. Hers was in the gold one, but we also have, that. So remember that if you want to get started, I wanted to show John these. I'm sure he's thinking like, okay, great. Because he's had a million premonitions, but you can get this. So everyone who registers now, you get not only the financial discount, there's options or payment plans. Again, they've all said that's not for me all about the money, but I feel that if you don't pay, you don't pay attention. Okay, so it's just the truth. So you have to invest something because I need to know if I'm investing in you, that you really invest in yourself. And then so you get this, but you also get to get the celebration. The celebration was really, really powerful for those who participated last time. It's just going to be another breakthrough. It's another breakthrough for you. And we have our first members event. We have members event every month. So our next members event is going to be Wednesday night. We're going to watch Hamilton together, which is just fun. Again, that one connection, that one opportunity to sit and watch a play virtually and to meet people. You don't know who's going to say, you know what, I love what you're doing. Let me partner with you. I got this, you got that. Let's just do it together, and then exponentially. So it's not, it's just a multiple of things that happen when you invest in yourself and you become part of a community and you take it to the next step. So I totally thank you because showing up, is huge. You showed up this week. You invested your time, money for a reason. So what was that reason? You said this morning what you wanted to go away with. You want to walk away with knowing how you do a podcast or building your brand. You want to walk away with, building more products or more revenue or more passive income. You want to walk away. So what is it? What is your reason? So establish that. And then we will then just say yes. So I'm going to let Amy and Jamie kind of feel us out. So but that kind of a good closing video is for us to create our own video. Let's create our own video. Let's create our own motivational video. As far as what we're going to do, and what we're going to say and what we're going to happen. And, because we're together in this and can motivate each other and inspire each other. What do you think, Jamie and Amy?
I think it's good for everybody to be totally focused on what it is that they want to do next.
Yeah.
There has to be some action placed in step. Now we do have the wheel of prizes still for last time today.
Yes. I'm so excited about our celebration. I forgot.
There is a little video that I do have for you guys to, while you're thinking about what you want to create for you. And I think it might be good that we switched around this time. We're going to play that video first for you,
okay,
and then we'll do the wheel of names. So what I want everyone to do right now is think of what kind of inspirational video you would be putting out to encourage people to take action into their life, and you'll realize that you are a group of people, and this video is going to talk to that. Watch the words, listen to the sound, and think about you and what you can do for you and your community. Where am I? There it is. Here we go.
Just let me state for the record, we're giving love in a family dose. We are family. Hey, I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Sing it to me. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. just begun to get our share of this world's delight. High hopes we have for the future and our goals in sight. We know we don't get depressed. Here's what we call our golden rule. Have faith in you and the things you do. You won't go wrong. Oh no, this is our family jewel. We are family. Sing it to me. I got all my sisters with me. Sing it to me. I can hear you guys. Everybody say, ooh. We have faith in you and the things you do. Hey, hey. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, y'all. Get up, everybody, and say, hey, hey. We are family. I got my sisters with me. I got all my sisters with me.
Awesome, awesome. Give yourselves a pat on the back for just showing up. I mean, I see a pat on the back. And give yourselves a big round of big hug for just love, self-love. Give yourself all the love you can possibly give. Just thank you. Thank you, Jamie, for finding that for me. Thank you. That was a great find. Thank you.
All
right.
righty. So now, who's ready to win a prize?
Woo!
So you know the rules. When your name shows up, you've got to let us know that you're here to get the prize. You've got to be taking action on the opportunity, which is merely just stepping up and saying, I'm ready. Yes, I'm here. Give it to me. And we have 2 prizes, the wonderful 16 different locations across the US for a Wyndham 3-day, 2-night. And the other option is the amazing homestay in Santa Fe above the clouds, looking out into creation. So let's spin the wheel and get ready. Focus on your name and let's have some fun.
And you must be present to win. So keep posting.
Oh, oh, oh. Stacy, are you still here with us?
I want to redraw.
She's not here. Okay. All right.
Stacy's not here.
She left in the last seconds of the song. Oh my goodness. Stacy. Okay. Let me. So Stacy's no longer in the drawer. So
Okay.
let's go back. See who wants to win this time. We've got 2 wonderful prizes. Let's go. Wrong way. There we go. Oh, 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 oh. Vicky.
In here, she's here, isn't she? Here?
I can see her there smiling away.
Yeah, she.
Looking for my mute button. So, I would take the Desiree one, but only if I get Desiree with it.
Oh, that's negotiable.
All right, then I guess I'll have to choose the other one, and we'll have to fight about the other later.
Okay.
So,
I definitely come with the private program. Yes. Yes. Congratulations. Oh, yeah.
congratulations, Vicky. So you're taking the 3-day, 2-night at a Wyndham.
Thank you.
Hey. So let's see who wins the next prize. Let me just go back in here.
And then, by the way, that is negotiable. So someone else actually offered that, asked for that same opportunity, and I'd be glad to do that. So you may wind up with both. So that's good for you.
Don't know if I have the energy for both, but okay.
No, you're gonna come with me first, and then you're gonna need to with them. And
Amita.
Nita, where's the Nita? Amita, is she here?
People that
Okay.
appear at the last moment.
Yeah.
Miss an opportunity.
Some people cut up too quick.
Those of us with stronger bladders won.
All right. We'll quickly go again then. Here we go.
All right.
Rosalind Butler, you still here? Yes, I can see your picture.
Yes. But you gotta hear her voice. Rosalind, say yes. Unmute.
I am here.
Yay! Congratulations on winning the homestay there in Santa Fe. And the wonderful opportunity to get everything.
Getaway. Fantastic.
Homestay in Santa Fe. Fantastic. When can I leave?
Dive on down. Contact us. Just email us and we'll look at our calendars and schedule it. That'd be great. Okay, fantastic.
Right, cool.
Congratulations. Yay.
Thank
everybody.
you.
You're welcome, everybody. Congratulations. Okay, so who's ready? What are our members? Who's ready to say yes? Who's ready to make sure that they go either to the website or go contact Jamie or Amy and get your membership started so you can join us in the after party, so to speak, the after party. I just really want to congratulate everyone for moving yourself forward to showing up this week and for just sharing this moments and this time with us together. And then you accept the information. And so I challenge you, to do what you need to do and to, say yes to yourself, give yourself permission, move out. I mean, all the different things you've heard Gina and Monique and John and everybody else saying, from Anna to Patty to everyone, just kind of trusting yourself, invest in yourself. There doesn't happen any other way. So I want to thank you. And I trust that you'll make the best decision. And with that, Patty's bringing our drink. So we're getting ready to give a party. So anyone the members, let Jamie and Amy know, and Dawn, and we'll take, look what Patty prepared. Wow. I want to thank our team. And there's some really good stuff in here. So we're going to go into the party. I want to thank our team for really supporting us. Let's give a round of a hand to Jamie and Amy, for being there for us and coaching you along the way and making sure that you are on track. It's a big round of applause for that. Yes. A big hand for Dawn, our DJ Dawn. There's also our Zoom concierge. This is new to her, so she jumped right in and she learned it and kept us rolling, the music flowing. And for Patty, our production manager here, who created my studio on wheels with lights, cameras, and actions. I love it. Who came and looked at it. And then thank you for showing up and giving me the ability to be able to share my gifts with this world. Thank you. All right, so we're going to have some music before we go into our transition to our private. So Lenska, you're a member. The other ladies that are members, let's meet in the private. She's going to, okay, so let me share. I'm not sure that Dawn knows of the members. And then Jamie and Amy, you may know some other members that are going to join us in the private breakout room. We're going to party there. Oh my goodness. Let's salute. Let's salute. Yay, let's salute.
Yeah, definitely. Those names, Desiree, so Dawn can put them into the special breakout room.
Okay. All right.
The celebration party's happening.
Okay. I will give those names. Vicky is a member. Rosalind's a member. Some of those people she's seen week after week. Kimberly's a member. Lenska's a member. Patty's a member. Regina's a member. Terry's a member. Vaughn's a member. We have quite a few members here. We have a few more that Susan's a member. We have a few more that need to come on and become a member. Like, why not? Why not become a member and join us? We have fun things that we're doing, and it's more education. For people that I'm looking at now, those are the ones that come to mind. I'm going to get my.
Well, it's been a pleasure spending time with you folks while Dawn is placing you guys that are part of the member team into the special breakout room with Desiree to continue with the celebration and to do that special process. For those of you that I've scheduled a call with, I'll be starting those calls to do a little breakthrough strategy moment for you for whatever area of your life. And for those of you that still want to talk about taking action, by all means respond to the text or connect to Amy or I directly through the link above in the phone call, or text us and we'll have a chat with you. Or you can go directly to the bypowerof7.com. It's in the chat. I'll put the link back in the chat there for you. And just let us know that you've taken advantage of any one of the special deals that Desiree has for you this week. And just let us know that you're doing that, and then we'll be able to let Dawn put you into that special room as well. You'll also get that awesome podcast mic set up for those people. So that'll be good. So once again, it's been an absolute pleasure being here with you guys. So I'm about to jump on the phone. To those of you that are waiting for a phone call from me, I'll be talking to you first, Laura, if that's good. Seeing I can see you there with the wonderful tree behind you. I'll give you a call right now, and enjoy the rest of your day, folks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Desiree, are you going into the room?
Yes, I need you to. Actually, I was going to get something first. I need you to invite me, but
I did. It said not joined, so I'm just going to try and figure out
all right. Just a second. Let me get my
how to do that. I'll put Patty in there. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to, maybe if I do it here. No, trying to get you. I'm trying to figure it out. Sorry. This is a new thing for me because it said not joined. Is it somewhere else on your screen? Can you look at more? Because it's just showing me unassigned. It just says that you didn't join.
Okay. Give me another chance to join. I blow it. I can. Well, I need to do. So another way to invite me is not join.
Yeah, I'm looking.
You know, so they, how about let's say, for example, breakout